Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday Night Forum. This is Arsenal Fan Circle. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome here. And, it's kind of a funny month, okay? We think things are happening in the world, but we try to be that one constant. Apologies, there was no podcast on Sunday, but, wasn't a
How
whole lot.
dare you, Ray?
How dare I take some time out? You know what I mean? Like the rest of the world was doing. But yeah, listen, we are back. It's Thursday Night Forum, and we do have a game at the weekend that we can talk about, Tony. So Stan's getting himself settled in. Alonso's going to join a little bit later, and maybe even later than that, Gary will join us as well. So it's going to be very much a tiered. So the runway is clear, Tony. You have a little bit of real estate to talk tonight, Tony. So I want to give a shout out to BX Gunner and Noe Donis for being here with us. And yes, Tony was asking me, what do we got to talk about? There's plenty to talk about. There's fixtures being rescheduled, Tony. There's how dare those three Brazilians not be called up to the Brazilian national squad. There's call-ups for Ivan Toney. I'm going to talk to Stan about that one, Ivan Toney, because I think Brentford is going to be a very tricky game for us on the weekend. And as you get settled in, Tony, I've called this podcast "Carry That Motivational Pain." Okay, on the thumbnail you'll see Brentford last season 2-0 loss away from home. Yeah, and Brentford's first game back in the Premier League, and we didn't pass that test. Now we've had a lot of change even in our team in the last year, and also we've just lost against Manchester United our last game, Tony. So, as BX Gunner says, Tony, there is tons to talk about, and we're going to get into it. We're going to give you our fixtures in October as well. We're going to be doing so. Tony, welcome. Alonso's actually here. We'll bring Alonso in. Stan's here. So, we took it up into the air, Tony, and the boys are here to help us in the cabin crew, right?
Yeah, I was just down in the baggage
Sneak up
area.
here with landing gear, Stan. So
Yeah, I was down in the baggage area to get something out of my bag.
All right, Alonso, you just made it on time. Good hustle, Alonso.
Got any crisps, Alonso? Just checking.
Evening, everyone. So time to lift off.
Hello.
Hello. Good to see you, Noe.
Hello there.
Late night entertainment. Listeners, always stuff to talk about with Arsenal as well. BX Gunner wants to give Balogun a shout, quietly doing the business. Listen, he is in the League On, and he's in the French League, but he is scoring goals.
we could have used him this year if we didn't waste a year of his career.
Well, I think he's finding his level, Tony, and he's scoring goals. So we'll find that this loan has probably been a good one for Balogun, much like Saliba. The loan for 2 years for Saliba has been a good one. But Tony, give us your opening statement, Tony.
My opening statement is still pissed off about the game being postponed today. I don't know why we couldn't play it there. I don't know why we couldn't play it behind closed doors. UEFA just said no, you can't fucking play. But you gotta play before November 7th. So that means we have to cancel the fucking Man City game. I'd rather play Man City now than in a super congested fixtures that come up next year.
I'm going to counter that by saying I'm happy with playing Manchester City right now. Have you seen what a certain guy? What is that?
Better out than in.
Somebody blowing their nose.
Hey, fucking hell.
Wasn't any of our noses though, right? I'm happy, Stan, that we're not.
Must have been someone in the chat box. Sorry, go on.
We are not facing Haaland in October. I'm actually okay with that, Stan.
So here's the thing, right? I know that I get that people are like, why can't we have the game today? So as I understand it, right, we've got like 10,000 police now all descending into London because of what's going on, and obviously there's a lot of queues to go and see Queen Elizabeth lying in state, right? Like 2.5 miles long or whatever. The other thing is as well, we're playing PSV. Who is it that Chelsea are playing?
They were playing RB Salzburg.
Okay. Who do you think's got the biggest away crowd there? And also, as well, you got
Yeah,
to remember to get
PSV.
from Eindhoven to London, EasyJet, man. London to Amsterdam is like less than an hour. So it's quite an easy journey. So there would be a bigger police presence needed, I believe, at the Arsenal game
Yeah,
because
but
of the
what if
away
we flipped
fans.
it? Couldn't we flipped it to there?
We could have flipped it to there, but then I said that on yesterday when I was over and over again with Rich and Steve. I said, when they made the decision at the weekend to postpone games, I don't know if they'd already made a decision looking ahead to Thursday, but if they had, maybe that would have given enough time to flip the fixtures. You know what I mean? Because equally, it's not as long to get from London to Eindhoven. You can fly to Amsterdam in less than an hour. You can get trains, you can get ferries and all sorts. It may have been a bit late for people to make some rearrangements, and obviously train fares aren't that cheap. But I understand. I understand why they've done it. It's unprecedented. Do you know what I mean of what's going on?
Yeah,
It's something that they don't really have a blueprint for. So as the days go on, it's a little bit of work in progress. So I kind of get it, and I could have done with maybe this one being played because I think we would have had the personnel to maybe cope in the game.
yep,
But I'm glad that we in a way, that we had the one last weekend postponed because it gives us a little bit while now to bring back Party into the fold because he was close, I believe, and we do play better with him. And also, people have been talking about players like Saka look tired. We just had a little bit of a rest now. So maybe it's done us in an odd way a little bit of a favour. But I think that we could have somehow maybe have played, flip the fixtures, as Tony says, for the PSV game.
yep.
I know
Well,
we
we
offered everything for him behind closed doors, playing there. Seemed like something would have been acceptable to him.
well,
Behind closed doors, though, innit? You got to think of sponsors, revenue, ad revenue, and all that side of it. And
TV.
money plays a big part in all of this as well.
Yeah, logistics indeed. And what we didn't want to do was do the old forfeit, 3-0 defeat.
No,
No. And this is a game that we're not going to lose. I'm going to tell you, we're not going to lose to PSV 3-0 at home. That's for sure. The Assemble said, evening chaps, Arsenal should beat Brentford if this team is as the hype. It may be difficult, but we still have the game under our control. And yeah, I think those are good words. He assembled. It's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be another test for us. And I think, as the podcast is titled, we need to keep that motivational pain within Arsenal hearts and know what Brentford did to us last season when the pundits were dancing on our graves, as it were. Um, but want to welcome Alonso and get his opening statement on things on the state of Arsenal last 2 weeks. So, Alonso.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a letdown that we lost to United when we did. Though it was a late game and it's always a tough game over there at Old Trafford. With that said, canceling the game on last Sunday. Who was it again? I forgot. Who's the players last Sunday?
We should have played Everton at home.
Right. So I think that game against Everton could have won. We may have won, but we needed that game to, I guess, you know um help get us back to the top of the league, or at least set us apart. But anyway, the Queen died, which is always gonna it was unfortunate, but it was gonna happen. Uh, Bound to happen, I guess, because of our old
Yeah,
age. With that said, canceling games was the right thing to do, I guess. Some people would run into games we played. But I think, like Stan has said, there's some players on the team that needed some rest. Saka being one of them, so maybe it benefited him. But then again, canceling Thursday game was kind of iffy, I guess. Like Tony had suggested, we may have could have flipped the game, but you never know. With those instances, it's kind of hard to say. Um, But yeah, it's good to have football back on Sunday and look forward to it. Brentford should be always an entertaining game. So yeah, I can't wait.
Definitely, we can't wait. December said, Ray, this is the problem. This shouldn't be a test. We're going to get into the Brentford preview a little bit later, and I'm just going to say, at home, Brentford at playing at home are a different proposition than they are playing away from home. And I will counter and say, December, every game in the Premier League is not easy, and every game is a test. But yeah, we want Arsenal to pass the test. Stan.
Also, as well, just thinking about the games being cancelled and so forth. I know things happen quickly and decisions are made quickly, but in hindsight's a beautiful thing. But it would have made more sense to have continued with the games last weekend
Yeah.
and cancel the games this
Yes.
coming weekend. You would imagine that it's going to be chock-a-block now in London over the weekend with people coming in for the state funeral, which is on the Monday, right?
Yep.
A lot of people, football going on and all of that. I think just thinking about it, it just would have made more sense to have done that. Continued with last week, and then as we gear up and you wind up to the funeral, because there's a bank holiday on the Monday as well, right? In the UK, I believe you don't have the football on the Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that seems more like just more logistical sense, right?
Yeah, for sure. BX Gunner said he expects Stan BX Gunner expects Jesus to score some goals. Tony will be coming ready to impress Southgate, and we've been going back and forth a little bit on Ivan Tony and Stan.
Did he make the England squad or not? Because I know
Yeah,
that he got
he's
named.
got the call up. He's got the call up to the England squad. And he's going
And
to give England another dimension. That Plan B that people always talk about.
you usually think that if you're being called into the England squad at this stage, then you're part of the manager's squad. He has a squad and then he trims it down to another number. And if you get told that they didn't, he's in that bigger number at the moment. And it surprises me then that I heard that Ben White didn't make the squad. That really surprises me.
So I would think that's some loyalty to Harry Maguire, who is one of the.
Harry Maguire isn't, in a team that's in the top of the league and has won 5 out of the 6 games and is in form. However, the other argument is Ben White's not been playing at centre back this season. True. He's been playing at right back, and if you look at England, they're well stacked in that area for right back. But then the other thinking is he's in better form than Harry Maguire, old slabhead himself, and you're getting 2 for 1. If there is a catastrophe in the right back position, then you've also got the added bonus that you've got someone else that can slot in there if needed. Yep. So I'm really surprised that he didn't get a shout.
But Stan, I also have theories as well that old Slapstick himself, Southgate, plays for the back as well. So maybe there's reason. I mean, if I play the back, I would want Ben White there as well, because that's what he plays at times. But I don't quite understand why he brings along Maguire and John Stones. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I think they've just been with him a little bit longer, Alonso, and BX kind of said, "Who do we think is dropping down to the Europa? Some big names are coming." And that's the important thing in this Europa League group that we're in. It's very important to finish top of the group, because if you come second, you're going to face one of those third place teams.
It still doesn't matter if you place first; you're still going to play them after they beat the second place team.
I wouldn't. That's why you're seeded. You know what I mean? So you don't meet them around earlier. You think we might meet them in the quarters or the last 16. But I wouldn't want to meet a big team in the 32 round the 32, Tony. That's why you try to win your group. For me, anyway, there are some big teams in there, and we will get into that as the season goes on. Going to be some huge clubs dropping down the Europa from Champions League. Yeah.
So just as we're talking about international selections, do you think then that, because if you look at Arsenal as well, Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, and Megalegs didn't get a call up. Is that because the manager already has got them earmarked, wants to look at other players. But I would say that this close to the final selection, you've done all of that. You're now looking at a real closed group, if that makes any sense, just to make
Well,
sure that, and then you usually have, I can't remember what there's, you have a number, right? And then you trim it down again, don't you? You let about 4 or 5 go.
25 down to 18.
Something like that, right? So
Only.
I'm just going to say, you would think that the Gabriels would be selected. So are they not going to the World Cup then, or not?
No, I think that the Brazil coach is looking at different options, and he knows what he's getting from those 3 Gabriels. Tony?
I think a lot of teams are doing what Italy did in the last Euros. They used 46 players building up to the Euros. So I think they're just kind of trying everybody out. That's why you're not seeing some of the players you expected to be in there yet. Just kind of giving everybody a kick around, see what it looks like.
Because Megalegs hasn't actually had a call up yet, has he? He's not played for
Yeah,
Brazil yet.
He has one, I think.
Yeah,
A couple.
he's in the Olympics, and he's had other call-ups too.
And everybody that I've heard from seems to feel that Gabriel Magalhaes will be the 4th choice central defender. So he's definitely going to go and be part of the squad for the World Cup. BX going to say, truthfully, going back to Brentford, this isn't the past, a different era. All teams have money and threats. And Brentford do possess threats as well. We'll get into that. I know we're jumping around a little bit, but
I'm probably going to be more invested than at the World Cup in Brazil. Because there's an Arsenal connection there.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, I'd like England to win it. I'd like to see my country win it in my lifetime, but I'm not really into international football, as I said before. But having the added dimension of having, if those players go to Brazil, just gives it another reason to watch.
Yeah, I've always liked Brazil, and I've always liked France. Those are kind of the 2 clubs I've always supported.
Can I also state I'm originally from Ireland, okay, and I'm living in the States now, but I'm not in favor of an all-star game in the Premier League.
That was dumb.
I'm just going to say that right now. I'm not in favor of that, right, Stan?
Fucking hell. What is that geezer talking about? It's like, do you remember the Harry Enfield show, Tim Nice but Dim? He's like fucking Todd Nice but Dim. He's like, oh, hello, let's talk about soccer. I mean, the thing is, right, since I've lived, living in Vancouver, I go down to pubs sometimes to watch football. Most of the people that I'm with are North American, because I'm over here now, I'm connected to podcasts. I met a lot of people, like the two geezers below me, Americans over on Lolo. And there's always been that stigma in it, about, with the English saying that the Americans, they don't know what they're talking about. They talk about soccer. They don't understand the offside. There's always been that thing. And, maybe I was part of that bit of banter a while ago, but living over here now, do you know what I mean? I've got to wind my neck in. And it isn't like that, I speak to a lot of you guys who've been following Arsenal for fucking ages. You know what I mean? Getting up at 4 in the morning and all that. But when you hear comments from fucking Todd Nice but Dim, he's just sent us back into. He sent you guys back into the Stone Age. Do you know what I mean? Now you're just discovering like fire. It's like, oh, it's a bit hot. He's not done you any favour. What's he talking about? I mean, an all-star game. I mean, can you really see Arsenal, Tottenham players, Chelsea players all teaming up? I mean, it's not the internationals. It's just, I mean,
yeah.
What? Do you know the other story I heard as well, right? He was really getting in with Thomas Tuchel. Instead of like being a chairman and letting his manager manage, he's really hands-on and that. Apparently, him and his partner, I can't remember his partner's name. It's a weird name, like his number 2 or whatever. They sat down with Thomas Tuchel and presented him with a 4-4-3 formation.
4-4-3, yeah. Fly keeper.
12 players. They suggested a 4-4-3 formation.
I know we talked about that other day.
They've got a fucking rush goalkeeper.
Yeah, rush goalkeeper. We used to call it fly keeper in Ireland. You know what I mean? Put your two coats down, or your
you just be like, mate, just write the fucking checks and wind your neck in. Do you know what I mean? I'll take care of the rest. Do you know what I mean? It's just not. It's not good, is it? I mean, what do you guys think about an all-star And also, what did you like? Was it good? Jurgen Klopp
No.
said, he said, "Why not just bring in the Harlem Globetrotters and we'll play them?"
No,
You know?
I can't stand. I can't stand the other teams. The more that we've been in the mid-table of eighth place, and recently fifth place, I want to get up there. I want to be above those teams. I can't stand the Chelsea's, Tottenham, Man United, and we want to be rubbing shoulders with Liverpool and City now.
I
Come
don't
on,
want. Listen, I don't want any of our boys in a fucking team with Eric Dyer. I don't want that.
Oh
I don't want
no.
any of our boys near Eric Dyer. They might
no,
catch something.
no.
That's why you just do these combined 11s, and on paper you never fucking go out and do it. Just
Yeah, I don't even go in for the combined 11s. I'm never doing a combined 11 on this podcast.
we never have. I think we're fucking
And
absolutely.
he also said
stupid.
something about a tournament for the bottom teams or whatever.
Yeah, like was it basketball?
Yeah, for the relegation, you know.
So, do you think with Chelsea board regret having him as an owner now? I think I made him.
No, he's
wrong
got
mistake?
money. He's got money. He's funding. He's keeping the club afloat now, and may not be Abramovich, but we'll see. We'll see where.
Well,
this
we never heard
school-
nothing from
Cool.
Abramovich.
It was actually
Stan,
quarter billion.
Stan, do your Abramovich impersonation.
There isn't one. We've never
I
heard him
know.
speak.
Never heard him.
We've never heard him speak, right? He probably sounds like one of the teachers. You know, we used to watch the Charlie Brown cartoons, and when the teacher speaks, it's just like a saxophone. Probably something like that. But another thing as well. Not only did they spend, was it a quarter of a billion on players in that last window just gone, and then they've sacked the manager. And they said, "Okay, who do you want? Who would you like us to spend this money on?" And then they sacked him. The money that they spent on Graham Potter to bring him in, it was close to 100 million. You know, they paid something like 20 million in. They paid 20 million to Thomas Tuchel to pay him off.
Yeah.
Then there was compensation to Brighton. And then his wages over 5 years is 60 million. That's 60, 80. So there was another 20 million in compensation. So altogether, to get him in, it's cost them 100 million. And my question is there really a manager that's worth that amount of money? 100 million.
We're going to see what Graham Potter's made of, and he's bringing his backroom staff as well. That might be one of the things.
Yeah, Simone that gets paid 36 million a year.
But I mean, Haaland was cheaper than that.
You know, insane.
I mean, that's cheaper than what they paid for Gareth Bale. It seems like a lot of money, and I'm not saying that Graham Potter is a bad manager. By all accounts, he's done well. You know, he's in Sweden for a while, and we've all seen what he's done with Brighton. But there are no guarantees. Sometimes when a manager makes a big step up, you know, he now has to deal with really big personalities that are multi-millionaires. If someone like Aubameyang doesn't buy into this guy quickly, then he's going to be fucked with Aubameyang because he'll be turning up late, doing all his usual tricks. You know, he's got to make sure that these personalities buy into him. These aren't guys at Brighton that he's brought up through the leagues and, you know, bought surplus to requirements players and molded them and found a canny buy in the market. These are big established players, man, that some of the biggest managers have had trouble harnessing. So
yeah, that's why it's such a gamble now, because you got all these players that drop tools or won't play for these guys. They've done it twice for Mourinho. There are all kinds of great managers that just put players won't play for them, get the manager sacked. So it's paying that amount of money to a manager with the way these players are now. It's just a gamble.
It's a big gamble.
Even if they are a real good manager.
You don't know what the fit's going to be like with this new manager, Graham Potter, and it's going to be interesting to see.
I mean, look on
the bright side, White can only get injured in training, so any accidents will be dealt with promptly.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say as well, you know, Tuchel fought, tooth for now for them to bring in Aubameyang, which is the striker that he identified. So you've got to think up until that point, they must have been with him. Otherwise, they would have dragged their heels. If they knew that they were going to make, they would have dragged their heels and spending any more money. And do you know what I mean? But they were behind him, and they really sort of pulled out the stops to get him from Barcelona. It was a bit of a protracted deal, and then they get rid of him. It's very knee jerk.
BX Gunner said Brazil is arguably the hardest setup to get into right now. There's Brazilians balling all over the globe, in all leagues. It's tough.
Yeah, a lot of them. He's right.
They have like 11 fucking attackers. How are they
No.
to choose them?
But you know what's interesting? How how
So much so
Willian
that Diego Costa
and
goes and plays for
Terry
another
Costa.
country. He's like, fuck
Yeah.
this too. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Play for
But
Spain.
but how funny would it be if the Diego Costa and Willian get in based on experience from a Premier League?
Yeah. Bexkin says Oba looks washed. Now, Alonso, what do you want? What do you want for our Arsenal players? Do you want them to go? Do you want them to go to the World Cup on a personal level? You want them to go to the World Cup and enjoy the experience. But on a selfish Arsenal level, do you want our players to be at home resting up, to be ready for the second part of the season? Which is best for them, Alonso, to keep playing through a World Cup or to down tools for 6 weeks?
Well, right. I think considering the circumstances, this is once in a lifetime experience for some players, and some players time's running out to play for their country. And you got to think about it like that. And you got to think about these players who are now on a world stage trying to get their team to the World Cup final. So yeah, I mean, as a fan of Arsenal, seeing these guys like Bukayo Saka, Ramsdale, possibly Brazilians, the big Gabriels, guys like Partey, Tomiyasu, I believe. These guys play well for Arsenal, and to see them possibly be successful in the World Cup is pretty awesome as well. So I don't mind that at all. But this is again different circumstances where in the summertime they'll be playing, but unfortunately it's not the case. So being in mid-season, I guess, kind of deal for them going to World Cup. Yeah, I'm all for it. Why not, right? I mean, they want to play for their country, so let them have fun, representing the country, and hopefully have success in there as well.
Yeah, I'm conflicted about that. What's the best thing? I'll go to Stan next on this one and let us know who's not going to make the World Cup, who's our starting 11 who won't make it. I think it's Tierney, Erdegaard, and Zinchenko so far are not going to the World Cup. Stan, what's your thoughts on that?
You've got to think that if you are a true model athlete, professional sports person, then the highest pinnacle that you can reach is putting on the jersey for your country. That's got to be the goal. If you're a dedicated athlete, sports person, that's got to be the highest aim that you're looking for. Unless, obviously discounting snooker and darts, because they're not sports, are they? Really?
Sports.
They're not even a sport. Do you know what I mean? As a wise man once said, any sport where you can wear your own shoes and smoke a cigarette while you're doing it.
They are sports. They're just not team sports, right?
Darts. Drinking a beer.
Stan, remember that Ray loved to play snooker. Remember that.
I like snooker. I like darts.
More dark, but I joke. So, but you've got to think that has got to be the highest pinnacle. So, secretly, I don't want any of them to go. I want them all to be in bed. Do you know what I mean? And eating the right stuff and drinking the right stuff. But if that happens, then they're going to be. You don't want a moody player. You're not getting that. You have a player that is moody because they haven't gone because they weren't picked. So yeah, go. All you do is you just keep your fingers crossed that nobody breaks a leg. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's it, isn't it? That's what it is. You keep your fingers crossed that everyone comes home healthy. But go. Have a. It's got to be good for them.
I know Gary doesn't like this. Gary feels like these players should live, breathe, and drink Arsenal, but they're international. They play for their international teams, Tony. They want to go to a World Cup and do the best for their country, and they're going to go and do that. And all we can do.
Can I just say something? I find it weird that Gary has that opinion, because if you look at American sports, right, the sports that they have in America, they're not really national. They're not national sports, are they? It's a local sport.
World champions.
Do you know what I mean? You don't play. You don't play American football against other countries at the top of it. You don't do that in baseball either. You don't really do that in ice hockey or basketball. The only sport that they really have is athletics and football. So I would have thought that they would have, you know, because they're very patriotic, the Americans, right? They're very patriotic. The
Well,
flag,
look,
you
I
know,
mean,
all
it's
of
all
that.
about the badge, right?
You know, the light on the hill, all of that stuff. Do you know what I mean? You'd think that they'd be right into having that. So I'm surprised to hear Gary say that because, as I say, all of their other sports, it's all,
I mean,
you know what I
I,
mean? The World
I,
Series, what world? It's in America.
I don't want to misrepresent him, but I know it's got to be all about Arsenal. But of course, Tony, these players, they're international teams, want them and need them, you know?
And a quick question to them two below us, right? Because they're Americans as well with these American sports.
You cut me off more than fucking Gary does.
No, but I'm asking you a question. Right? Do
Yeah,
you
go
two
ahead.
below,
What was the
right, being
question?
Americans, how do you look at international football? Does it are
Yeah,
you
you
into
two at
it?
the
Does it
bottom.
bother you or
That's how I
Well,
got into
well,
football,
to
was
me,
watching World
I
Cup and
think
one at
stuff.
a
that,
time, lads? Come
being
on.
able to,
Of course,
that,
Tony Brown
you
here.
know, I enjoy. Oh, excuse me, 1994.
You go first,
Whenever
Alonzo.
Houston, all right, in 1994 happened, right? Whenever we hosted the World Cup, I started watching it because back then, you know, football here in the States was kind of new. We didn't really know much about it. There was not many Americans that we knew of that we knew.
Well, you're like, look
played-
at them. What are they fucking doing? They're kicking the ball for fuck's sake. Get the ref in there.
right, but you know, it was kind of different because during the evening time, Americans TV had to cater to parts of the world which was later than us, right? So I wasn't used to that, and this is a part of my life where we started getting cable. So you had games on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2. So it was kind of new to us here in the States. Not new in the sense it was a game, but new that it was on TV. And we had players actually playing abroad being kind of successful in the Premier League, not just being superstars, but being scoring goals rather. And then you move on and you see all these international superstars like Henry, like the Dutch players were always good. Then you turn to household names once you followed the game in England, and I became a fan of Arsenal in 2008. So I started recognizing names through countries, and that's how I started watching football here in the States because it was new, it was pretty cool, I guess, but it took time to get used to, and I started appreciating it more once USA got better in 2002, and they're young as well. So that team is very young but very good as well. So you branched off into watching them develop as players. Like you saw Claudio Reyna played Rangers, right? You see the guy from the center back. He played for AC Milan. Iwineu, I think his name was. So you see all these players, you follow their careers into Europe, and so becoming a fan of theirs and their teams. Then you see Henry doing, yeah. Then you see Henry doing well with France. Then you start following him. So his name recognizable, though I didn't know Arsenal back then. So yeah.
So you get to the club link and it was via their international country and you filtered it down. What about you, Tone?
For me, my first exposure was with '84 World Cup. My dad had cable, ESPN, all that.
Was
stuff.
that the one in America? Is that the one? My biggest takeaway from the USA World Cup
94
was the opening sequence. You know, that opening ceremony with Diana Ross.
Diana Ross.
Yeah, it was '94.
Coming up, and then she ran to take the penalty and attack the goal, and she missed, and the goalkeeper had to dive. But they had a thing where the goal exploded, and she put it wide like Eddie Nketiah.
So, Tony, that had to be 82 or 86. Which one was it, Tony?
86.
86 then.
In Spain. Spanish World Cup in Spain. Okay.
Oh, the Spanish World Cup, sorry.
86. 86 is Mexico. Sorry.
Yes, 86 was Mexico, yeah.
86 was Mexico. Yeah, I came out on Mexico as well in that one. Belgium were tearing it up, playing really, really well. But I think Diego Maradona would go on to win that, right? In '86.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
But
can I
you,
answer your question, Ray?
my question or stands?
Well, it's enough just to say
Go
86.
for it.
That's how I got into world football. I don't have to go on about it.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
we have to remember that there's 1.5 billion eyeballs or more watching World Cup, most watched
Wow.
sporting event there is. So of course, all these players want to do the best they can, switch clubs. You see them do that this summer, so they'll get more guaranteed minutes, so they'll have more of a chance to be in a World Cup. So they're all striving to play, which is a good thing. They do cut and neglect their parent clubs. And to me, I'm always afraid of injuries because Arsenal, I don't know how many times, perfectly healthy player goes on one of a stupid September fucking break, October break during the season. Do it all in the summer. Do all these international games in the summer and be done with it. But
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we've sent them off, come back, they're
Yeah.
gone for 2 months
And of course,
because they got injured.
Stan, the most recent one was in the spring, as Tony's saying. We had an international break, and we lose shortly afterwards. We lose Partey, we lose Tierney, we lose to Crystal Palace, we lose to Brighton, and we lose to Southampton. Right?
And then on top of all of that, you've got to remember when you're buying a player that has African heritage that they fuck off in January as well to go and play the AFCON.
Yeah.
And you lose them there. And again, that's a crucial time of the year in January, right? You know, you've just come off the back of a heavy fixture load. And the last thing you need is a key player coming back from the AFCON with a thigh injury or, something that's going to keep him out for another month or so.
Yep.
So I don't understand, like Tony says, just use the summer for all of that shit.
Shout out to
Is this January as well after the World Cup? Is it going to be the same length of window, like 1 month, or is it going to be a bit longer, or what's the deal with just January? Because it seems to me that obviously after the World Cup we go into a transfer window that it might be busy.
I think it's January.
I think it's the
31st.
same. I think it ends February 1st, like it always does.
It's gonna be quick. We go into a right after Christmas. We go into back into games. Thunder Road said the U.S. mentality is that the best players in the world play in our leagues, like giving it a world champion or World Series feel. It could. I don't know why you have to call it the World Series though when you're just playing within the states. Big up,
And
Ray.
Canada.
You know the answer to that is
Canadian
because the
teams
States
are in.
is the world.
Don't forget you got Canadians.
It's the center of the universe.
And Canada, right? Keep it a cap on everything. Mr. Tom.
We're like Robin.
Right. Yeah, Spain was 82.
Canada's like Robin in this like agreement. We're like, gee whiz, America, let's get to the Batmobile or whatever it is,
Batmobile.
Man, Tony had cable back in '86. Daddy Warbucks. I heard he was geologist.
Tony was living large back then, man.
My dad just loved TV and movies, and my grandparents, they had one of the big fiberglass
dishes
satellites, fucking like 16-foot wide satellite. And we had like a descrambler, so
A dish.
Figure out how to point it. You could get everything in the world on there.
Hey,
I've got visions of Tony being sent up onto the roof to turn it around. Tony, get your ass up onto that roof, and he's turning it.
It was a light. It was
electric.
electric.
When they got the picture to the Golden Girls, they're like, "Stay where
in
you
the house,
are."
we had an electric thing. We had a little electric thing that moved.
Shame on you, Stan. You thought we wouldn't have anything to talk about. Now we're talking about Tony's childhood here.
We had a little electric thing that spun it around.
Hey, Stan, remember that movie called Heavy Metal? That cartoon?
No, I haven't seen it.
I've got to see it.
Come on, Stan.
Heavy Metal by who?
It's a Heavy Metal cartoon. You've watched that movie.
It's like,
no.
Yeah, I've seen Heavy Metal.
No, I've not seen it.
All right.
I would have.
I'm calling bullshit on this one.
We are going to talk fixtures. We are going to talk Brentford. So, we're going to talk about Tony's childhood as well and moving the antenna up on the roof. Remember the
I
rabbit
get it.
ears?
I had a little toggle. I just spun it up, tilted
I
it
can
up
imagine
and
him
down.
up there in the pouring rain, still like while they're all down there watching it.
Getting
They're
like
all
you
watching
stuck.
like the third quarter. He's out there like, don't you move,
Sorry,
boy.
You should have seen how excited my grandpa was when he first found the Playboy channel on there.
You sent your granddad up there, so you could watch it.
All right, come on. This is the football channel.
I'm like 5 years old.
The assemble said, BX, watch what he does. He's always behind the game. He
Oh my
seems to
God.
calculate roughly where the ball will land. He scores a lot of tap ins with space all around him. I've never seen an attacker like him before. This is Haaland we're talking about. I saw a tweet.
I thought
Alonso.
Holland was a fail in the Premier League. I didn't think he was up to par. Like
You
people were trying to say.
you said Nunes. I came across my notes from a few weeks back. You said Nunes would score more goals than Haaland.
I did.
You did.
I read something earlier.
What the hell was I smoking that day?
From one of these Norwegian coaches that knew him when he was a lad and said that before Haaland went to RB Salzburg, Arsenal and Liverpool were interested in him. And he said that there were other clubs looking at him, but all they could see was a target man.
Yeah.
Because of his size and how
he's still
tall
a
and big
target
he is.
man.
But do you know what I mean? In that
Yeah.
sense of more of like, I suppose, I'm
Tony
thinking of like
Cascarino.
Andy Carroll.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's
Tony
sort of,
Cascarino did it for Ireland for many years.
Oliver
Niall
Giroud.
Quinn. Niall Quinn was another one. Yeah, Andy Carroll, definitely. Tierney getting injured last season as well with Partey, says Stephen. The prices on players after World Cup will be ridiculously overpriced. Yeah, those who will have a good World Cup. Yeah, so Alonso, I saw a tweet. If Manchester City play all the games, go all the way in all the competitions, at the rate that Haaland's scoring right now, he'll score over 100 goals.
FIFA.
Over 100 goals.
Is that on FIFA Superstar Edition?
That's like playing FIFA on the novice setting.
He scored
Novice.
something like, what's he got already, Tony? So over 10 goals, right?
13.
13 in all competitions. There you go. How often is AFCON? It can't
Some
be frequent.
people don't. Some strikers
2
don't
years.
get that. Some strikers don't get that in a whole season. And the guys, do you know what I mean? Like 6 games.
I
That's
mean,
just crazy.
Grant, most strikers hit 13 goals by Christmas. If they're really good.
He's
This
already
won't
in
even
Danny
be a
Welbeck's
tenth of his
numbers.
season. He'll end up playing around 70 games. Imagine what he's gonna have.
Yeah. So, Tony, with all of that being said, notwithstanding, I would wait till the new year till we play Manchester City. You know, I'm quite happy that the fixtures have been rescheduled. Manchester City's out of there.
We have such thin depth. Now we're talking about just getting players on loan in the winter. We have a stupid idea of loaning out Marquinhos, even though he's doing good. Why the fuck would you loan him out?
If we can get somebody better, would you get a Mudryk in and loan Marquinhos out?
Well, why can't Marquinhos just feature in Europa or other cups? He's good enough.
We don't know.
I think he's good enough now.
Yeah, but we don't know if it's true either. We hear something, we read something on Twitter, we take it for truth, and we don't know if it's truth or not. You know, we don't know if Marquinhos is going to be loaned out in the end.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I think he's up there with Martinelli. He might be better than Martinelli was at this point.
Yeah. Alonso, what do you think of Marquinhos last Thursday? Because Dan, Tony, and I were talking about this last Thursday. What an impact for a young player.
Yeah, and he's quite emotional about it as well.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, right?
I wouldn't mind him staying. It offers some kind of backup to Saka. Mm-hmm. He's still very young as well, so he might get a little bit naive. Okay, yeah, I think if Arteta believes in him, and I think his teammates do as well, I think that the combination with him and Nketiah was pretty special. And there's no reason why he cannot play in the Premier League. Because we're gonna need that depth. Because it's just a long dragged out season, and you don't know how players should come back from the World Cup. And I had no issue with him playing. I think it's good for him. I think it's good for his self-esteem. Arsenal is a big club.
Yeah.
So the only concern I have is just will he be able to handle the pressure of playing in the Premier League
Yeah.
as often as he will probably play this year.
Yeah.
And it shows that he's able to play multiple positions when called upon. So you never know. I would like him. I would like for him to stay.
I'm gonna use Brendan Aronson. We talking about the US. We talking about the World Cup coming up. Brendan Aronson. He's taken each step in his development. Mr. Tom will know as well. Leeds player. He's taken every step in his development. I've seen him play for Bethlehem Steel. He's played for Philadelphia Union. Went to RB Salzburg, and now he's at Leeds. And he's taken the step up each time. Alonso, why can't Marquinhos? There's no reason why Marquinhos can't take this step up, going from the under-21s to the Europa League. So I got to get this comment in here. Mr. Tom, Blanche was my girl. You were probably a Dorothy.
I didn't think anyone caught my Golden Girls comment, but Mr. Tom's got fucking ears like a bat. It's like
we have the wit here, and Mr. Tom comes for the wit. You know what I mean?
He came here talking about their Emmy wins and all this and that. He was ready.
He's like a dog with a bone with that one now. That's it. We've lost him. The Golden Girls.
After October, that's a good question.
A bit like losing Alonso to Martin Truex.
Here's a good question. Tony, you can take this one from the start. Erdegaard's on 3 goals. Gabriel Jesus on 3 goals. Martinelli's on 3 goals for us. After October, and I'll put up the October fixtures there. Who's our top scorer after October, Tony?
One of the two Brazilians.
So you've narrowed it down. Which two? Gabriel Magalhaes and Gabriel Jesus.
Martinelli and Jesus.
Okay.
I think probably Jesus. I think he probably gets a little bit more passes to him.
He should. I mean, as your striker, Stan, we should confidently say with chest out, Gabriel Jesus will be our leading goal scorer on November 1st.
It'd be nice if it was Odegaard. That'd be
yeah.
I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd have a cheeky fiver on Mega Legs because he pops up in the box, man, and he knows how to put them away.
Yeah,
it could be worth a cheeky fiver. You never know. But I've got a feeling that Martinelli may have more goals than Gabriel Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Because although Gabriel Jesus has 3 goals, that's only goals in 2 games out of 6, right? If you want to like squash it down a little bit,
yeah.
So I mean, what's that in a percentage? 6 games, only 2 of the games.
One every other game.
Is that a good return? Is that what we're looking for? Is that stable for you? Yeah.
Listen, if you get a goal every other game as a striker, I think that's a good a good strike rate.
And then you've got to have other players that are doing that as well, right? In the other game where he's not scoring, someone else has to take up the slack.
Yeah.
So and it looks like we've got players that can do that, doesn't it? It does look like players that can do that.
Gary, I've gone back and forth with Gary a little bit, and Gary didn't think that. I thought 5 of our players could hit 10 goals this season.
We're not so one-dimensional as we used to be. We used to be very one-dimensional. The goals would come from, a couple of places, and then you'd get maybe the odd one here and there from somebody else. But we seem to have players now that are looking for the net. I mean, even ESR. I know he's had some problems, and we're probably going to talk about him in a little bit more detail. But I used to love him coming off the bench because I genuinely thought that we've got a threat coming off the bench. It's not just someone coming off to give someone a rest and he's going to run around and just be another body out there. He will make something happen.
Yeah, he was the most accurate goal scorer in the league.
What did he get last season? Was it 11 goals, Tone, or was it 10?
Yeah.
What was it?
10 or 11, somewhere in there.
Not bad return. We have players that are taking up the slack. So if Jesus can continue at 1 every other game.
Yeah, I think he had 10 goals, 2 assists in the league.
And most of those were coming off the bench playing 20 minutes. I mean, he did great.
He's the one snagged, though. He's the one snagged, and I think you might agree with this, Tone. we've lost this player in Nicola Pepe that, although he never looked like he really fitted into this team somehow, in many ways, he did chip in with about what 10 goals, right?
And
So
he should have had it last year if Arteta played him, but he didn't play him. So
Yeah.
so we need Saka to be able to replicate that. Because if he doesn't replicate that, then our overall goal tally is going to be down, right?
and I still think we need Tomiyasu behind him because Saka's been tracking back a lot. It seemed like to me Marquinhos did that better. He was doing good in defense and getting up there, getting in goal scoring positions.
But
Hopefully Saka gets in there. I don't know. I just think he's kind of mentally burned out a little bit. Plus playing over 3,000 minutes last year, long Euros. Only 1 week
He's
off
still doing
before
some
he's
good
back in the
things, though,
team.
isn't he? Though he's still doing some good things. I mean, he doesn't look off the pace. He got a vital goal in the United game. He's doing some good movement, and
I just think he has too much to do on the pitch. I think he's just got a bigger role where he's not just focused on the attack.
I think. Go on, Lonzo.
I think that on the right hand side, like I mentioned before, the left has finally been clicking as far as we didn't need the right hand side to do as much as it had done in previous years, whether it be Tamiyasu or Saka be on the right hand side, or whether it be Cedric or Saka on the right hand side. So we're not depending on them so much. So finally we're getting some good touches from the left, like Martinelli, like Saka, Zinchenko moving forward, right? So we're kind of at a point now where we need to be more balanced in all sides, even through the middle, where the right side, I think, is still pretty much going there. It's just servers because of certain circumstances. But I think Ben White has done a really good job filling in for Tomiyasu whenever he's been on, Tony. It doesn't mean that Saka's going to score every time, but
Yeah,
I think
but
the
problem is
the
Ben
movie is
White's
still there.
attacking more than Tomiyasu, so Saka has to track back. There's not one of the midfielders dropping back for that right back zone. It's Saka coming up from the front, dropping back. He's been doing it too much. That's why I'd rather see Tomiyasu in there. But I agree with you. Ben White hasn't done bad, but for the team, I think it's better Tomiyasu's in there because completes it more. I think it helps Odegaard out a little bit. I think it balances everything on that side. Then you get the balance you want on the left and the right.
But the right has been our has been our strength so far, which in the past has been the weakest because Xhaka hasn't been in the right positioning, and Martinelli and Zinchenko and Tierney have been playing pretty well going forward.
See, I've
Better.
always felt when I've looking back at Arsenal, I've always felt that we've always had more creativity and always been more dangerous on the left-hand side as a team for maybe as long as I can remember, like, going back to players like Graham Ricks, Anders Limpar, Paul Merson, Antonio Riaz, Robert Pires. I think the only time that we kind of seemed equally as tricky and direct on the right-hand side was when we had Lundberg playing there. And then since Lundberg, again, it's been more industry on the right hand side, whereas the left hand side, Henri came in, he was always drifting out towards the left, and even now when I look at it, because if you look at it, Saka initially came through the ranks as a left-sided player, and I think that we spent a lot of money on Pepe, and I think that they thought that he was going to be a really creative leader, tricky, where everybody thought he was going to be on the right hand side, and it didn't work out like that. We've got Saka in there now, but he's young. He's taking up a lot of slack over there. He's playing a lot of minutes. There's a lot of expectation on him. So I've always felt that we've always been a little bit lopsided. We've been one thing on the left and something else on the right. It's never been, and maybe that's helped us. Maybe you can't have too much trickery going on both sides. I don't know.
Yeah, going back to what you said when we had Freddie, him and Perez could flip. I think Perez was actually better on right because he's left-footed, so that made more sense. But he did both good on both sides.
Mm.
But you
You always
said
remember,
that was about the only time it was balanced.
I always
So,
remember Perez. If you picture Perez now, he's on the left hand side working with Ashley Cole and Thierry Henry on that side. Uh,
I remember the
so
controversy when I put him in our best 11 and I had him on the right side.
yeah,
Then I
uh,
was defended by, I think it was Assembled. Might have been, I
yeah,
think it was
I
Assembled who
remember that.
defended me.
Nick Wilson's got a question, Tony. What do you think about them bringing the game forward 2 hours on Sunday? I mean, it's logistics, right? It's about
It's logistics, but to me, why didn't you play last weekend's game? Then cancel all this
well,
weekend's games.
they made the decision. The decision was made, and there we go.
I don't
Um,
know. You had 20, 25 years to plan it out. You
we'll
should
we'll
have thought about these things.
good comment here from Mr. Tom as well. 1 in 3 strike rate for Gabriel Jesus is respectable. Gabriel Jesus right now is 1 and 2, which is good. But if you want to get into the upper level, you got to be at Holland. 6 million goals in 24 games. That's not bad at all, you know. Um, and somebody asked as well, is Holland a goal hanger? What was the question?
I didn't know what a goal hanger was. That's why I didn't answer. But
Well, a goal hanger is a player who just sits in front of the goal and waits for the ball to come to him. You know, we all used to do that as kids. Tony would say Holland is a goal scorer or an exceptional goal hanger. I mean,
goal scorer.
yeah, a goal scorer, and the way he's able to contort his body. You saw that Champions League goal, the ball from Cancelo on the outside of the left foot, outside of the right foot, crossed in, and Haaland gets his
I
body.
mean, even go to a Champions League and look at his goals per minute. Just way up there. It's way past Mbappe. It's just insane the way the guy scores.
Yeah, so the game, BX Scanner, is 12 noon, 7 a.m. Eastern. On the road has done all the conversion for us. 4 a.m. for Stan. So Stan, if Stan's listening, I think the plan for Stan will be to go through the night, stay awake till 4 a.m.
No, Stan's plan is to eat some
What happened to Alonso there?
Eat some what? Nickname him right now.
green eggs and ham.
Green
For
eggs
Stan.
and ham for Stan. All right. So listen, really, Manchester City is kicked out of his schedule, Alonso. So it's a heavy diet of Bodo. Uh, Bodo Glimt.
I was telling people that Monday before it happened on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Are we to have Sam come
Yeah,
in and give us the
we'll have to. We'll have to,
photo?
Tony. We'll have to.
Our Norwegian football expert.
3 points in the group, Alonso, and we really should add another 6 points with those games against Bodo.
Photo.
Bodo Glimt.
Yeah, I mean,
Photo Glint.
it's gonna be pretty good. I think it's gonna be pretty good fixtures. I think the game Tottenham home should be a fun game to watch for our side. I think that it's an early game per usual. So I don't know why, but yeah, I think we're gonna stick it to them.
You want to know why, Alonso?
Yeah,
It's the
because
same reason It's the same reason Oklahoma, Texas has always played at 11 a.m. Less time to drink.
Yeah.
Less time to drink.
Yeah, it's gonna be a needly game. It's very, very security heavy because obviously there can be problems between the two.
That's why they do those games that early. I hate them that early, but that's why they do them. I wish they at least do them at 2, but
yeah.
I don't know.
And I think Stan had said earlier in the season, and I agree with it. We cycle around how clubs do, right? And you see Chelsea doing bad, and you see Liverpool doing bad, not as good as previous years. So you got to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
and hopefully, at Liverpool, they're not as good as they are right now.
Mhm.
As well as Chelsea. So those were more games, I believe, because of how bad about how bad they're not as doing as previous years. So I believe that all those games are winnable. Now whether or not
Yeah.
Arsenal actually show up for those games, it's always hard to tell. But I think Leeds will be not. Well, I think Leeds will blow them out per usual as always. I'm joking, Mr. Tom. But Leeds have been improved, so we have to be careful with them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
With players, and so you never know with Leeds.
With that Manchester City game being moved to the new year, I think it may be January when we're going to play City. That's probably about the only time it's going to be rescheduled after the break. We've lost two fixtures now. We've lost Everton at home. We've lost City at home. So on the opposite end of that now is we've got 8 games to go here. We're 6 in. We got 8 to go. Um,
And we got nine games in November for that. A lot of next year we're to have 9 games crammed into those months. It should be interesting if we can stay fit, keep everybody balanced. It's be taller. I'd rather play them now. I don't like them getting delayed, but
So when does the season end?
Late May.
May
Oh
26th,
yeah.
I think, was the end of the Premier League.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
for sure.
so
Uh,
two more weeks.
And if we do get to a Europa League final, it's going to be in June at some point. We will play the Europa League final. Um, hopefully,
What,
we
have,
get.
Ray, have they ever finally decided if we're to do Boxing Day or not? Because I know for a while they said no.
Yeah. We play West Ham. We're going to play West Ham on Boxing Day, or St. Stephen's Day, as we say in Ireland. Leeds have the intensity of 10 cities, Tony. So let's not underestimate Leeds United. But listen, the city gone. So we have the Tottenham test. We have Liverpool. The start of October is going to be difficult, but these are the tests that we need to get something from. Traditionally, Tony, we haven't been able to say get points from Liverpool. We've beaten Tottenham at home for the last 2 seasons.
This Liverpool team, we should be able to. I wish Spurs was before the international break. I don't like the way we play international break. Last year we got a 95th minute draw against Palace. Then we lost to Palace and another international break coming back. Historically, we just don't do good. I don't know why. A lot of times we don't have too many players going out, but we still just aren't up for those games. Hopefully, this is different. Might be with Zinchenko and Jesus. You got more leadership in the team, so hopefully they get the players up for it because Arteta hasn't seemed to be able to. Hopefully, buy-in leaders is the workforce.
Yeah. Stan, we were just talking about the fixtures ahead. Let's look at October before we get into Brentford. There's that big North London derby.
Hmm.
Uh, Gary's going to be going to that, but
Oh, is he?
Tottenham,
Nice one.
yeah,
Is he to be returning? That's the key question.
He's going to love it. I mean, my last live Arsenal game was the 4-2 North
yeah,
London derby under Unai Emery. Unai Emery, which is a nice memory to leave it on. Probably not going to see him for a while. So, hope Gary enjoys that.
yeah.
Him and Lolo and the Leeds boys. It's a
Oh, nice.
It'd be questionable if Gary gets to make it back.
Are you going, Mr. Tom? If those boys are coming over,
He'll
you're
be
going to
meeting
meet
up
up.
with them.
You're going to meet up with Lolo. I'm sure he's going to meet up with me. I'm sure Mr. Tom's going to be meeting up with his paymaster if he's making a trip over.
The dungeon will be open for
There's
business.
probably more to that trip that Lolo's making to England and Mr. Tom than we actually know about. Something
If
could
you
be
check
going
that
down.
luggage, it'll be like Austin Powers.
Yeah.
And
sort of
Leeds are
thing-
to be staying
This
with
sort of
Ben's
thing is
mom.
not my bag. You know what I mean?
Staying when they go to Leeds, they're to be staying at Ben's mom, which is an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds. I like.
Ben
Yeah,
Ireland.
good. Good to see the
I like
community.
Ben
It's good to
because
see
his
the
surname is
community.
Ireland.
It's good to see the community meeting up and doing stuff. I like
Yeah.
that.
Alonso, if what you're saying about City and Liverpool is true and we lost, where in the grand scale of things, where does that leave Arsenal? You know,
I think that it goes from coaching. I think that, and the players have to be up for it. If Arteta challenges them, then it's the players because it's their time now to grasp that challenge to want to do well, to want to finish on top. And Arteta has to set goals for them. And rather than let the players meet that goal, it's all on the players now. I think Arteta has brought in the players to get what he wants as far as the way he wants them to perform. And the players themselves have to be goal oriented to want to beat City and Liverpool, um, and Chelsea's and Tottenham's as well, and whomever else they lost to in the past. Like the smaller teams like Palace, like a Brighton, and a Southampton. So it's up to players now to exceed those expectations, because it's up to them now. I think Arteta is a good coach, but he has become a great coach to get these players above that goal he has set for them. That's including winning the Europa League. That's including beating the rivals as well.
right? Indeed. Um, any other thoughts on October? Then we'll get into Brentford real quick. Stan, Tony, Lonzo.
I think it says so a lot of what this club is because we're gonna have a lot of times you're having 3 games in a week, so that's what the whole second half of a season's gonna be. The fixtures are gonna be super congested, so it's really to show you at the end of October what type of team we are, how much we're going to invest in January. But I think it should be a really good litmus test for who we are, where we can finish.
Yeah.
But I think we should still be in the top 4, which is be nice. Going into the World Cup so we can rebuild this time instead of fucking sitting with our hands up our ass like we did last January.
I want to be in the top 2 at least by the time the World Cup starts. If we aren't in the top 2 right now, by the time the World Cup starts, it'll be a little bit concerning for me. We've had a good start, 5 wins, right?
We should be with extra game out of there. Should be still.
And Stan, I think it's important for this Arsenal. We've won 5 games. They haven't been all easy games. The 5 wins that we had. We've beaten Crystal Palace away from home. But the real test will come against a Liverpool or a City,
Of course, but then you see a team like Fulham fare well against Liverpool, and it's got to give you hope. You've got to get out of the mentality, I think, where you look at the fixture table, whether it's us as fans, whether it's the manager of the team, or whether it's the players, and you see a Man City coming up or Liverpool's coming up and thinking, well, we're not expected to do shit there, so we'll just write that one off. What's the fixture after that? Who are we playing after that? No, that's, Fulham didn't do that. Fulham didn't do that, right? Fulham just came up, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We should know how to play Liverpool better than Fulham because we've had more opportunities to have a go at them. Fulham haven't. Fulham ain't been around these parts from time. They go against Liverpool. Whether it was a bad day or not for Liverpool, they still got the points. Doesn't say that in the history book. Don't look back and it says Fulham beat Liverpool in brackets. Liverpool having a shit day that day. So,
Yeah, the only reason we've had challenging games is because we haven't been clinical in front of goal. We've had plenty of shots on goal.
Yeah.
Or shots, but not many shots on goal.
If I'm the manager and the sort of manager that Mikel is, he likes to get into people, I'd be using that in the team talks leading up to a game like a Liverpool or a Man City. You look for a fixture, a Man City didn't get it all their own way against someone where they should have. You use that as an example and you say, it can be done. It's all about mentality. And I felt that at the beginning of not the season that we've just finished, the one before when we had the 3 games where we, before we done really shit. We done shit against Brentford, and then it was like, oh well, the next one's Chelsea, and the next one's City. So we're not, and I kind of felt like everybody was writing those games off weeks in advance,
Yeah.
and I feel that surely that must trickle down
But
and get
I,
to the
I think,
players,
but I think Stan,
and they're in that mindset, right?
the way
I
you
think
feel.
still part of that's the micromanagement deal. You
No,
seen
but
when
I think it's the way you feel about
Arteta was out.
Arsenal. The way you feel about the team informs you about how you're going to face City or Chelsea. And I think this season we feel a lot better about Arsenal. We feel more confident facing Liverpool and Spurs at home than we did against Chelsea or City last season with the team that we had. You know,
And we've seen glimpses as well. Doing really well against City, then we go down a man,
yeah,
and it's all hands to
And
the
that
pump.
was without
You know,
Arteta, without
but
his micromanaging.
but that's all part of the game as well. Yeah, that's and you got to make sure that you don't fall for that and end up being a man down. And then everyone going, "Oh, you've done really well." If only no, next time we will keep 11 men on, and next time we will try and get the better of them. Rather
That
than
was one of the best games we played in the last 5 years. That game,
exactly.
we played a great game.
Yep. Thunder Road wants to know why we always play at home against Spurs first. Sick of playing them away second half of the season. I agree with you, mate. I wish it would.
Doesn't matter. You play them twice. You have to play
It
them.
does matter. It does matter.
Look, does the order matter? It doesn't.
Look, it does matter because we're going to play Tottenham and Liverpool at home, and in the springtime, March, April, we're going to have to play those games away from home, and it's going to be tougher. Listen, we've taken advantage of the schedule. We've won 5 of the 6 games, so all you can do is take advantage of calm seas, right? Thunder is better that way. We kill them off at home, says BX Gunner. Okay, let's get into the Brentford game real quick. I will see the lads in London at some point. I'm hoping to hop on the train to Leeds on the Sunday.
The Assembled has a question for Stan.
I'm surprised the BBC hasn't renamed itself Morning Hub. Morning Hub. We need to beat Tottenham to be considered on the way to a title challenge. Exactly, Big Scudder. We beat Tottenham and we can build ourselves up to a Liverpool game that's really going to be tasty. Why not, after drawing to Chelsea Spurs, we'll settle for a draw, Conte's specialty, a board draw, hoping to nick a win on the counter-attack, says the Assembled. Mitrovic is a beast. Is it the next one up? Stan's question is coming up. Drink the booze fast enough, you get drunk quick and cheap, says Tony. Stan, do you think game management has improved?
Yeah, I do.
I do too, actually.
Very, very much so. From the manager and also what's going on the pitch. I do. In a short answer,
I always think that as Arsenal,
I think substitutes have improved as well.
I always think as Arsenal fans, we hold our own team more accountable. We hold our own manager more accountable. We're an Arsenal podcast, so we're gonna analyze what Arteta does. But if you really look at it in the cold light of day, Arteta does similar things to other managers on the sideline. And I know I'm going to get probably pushback here from Tony. Let's see. No.
They don't bark like little fucking mad chihuahuas.
Yes, Conte's other managers bark at the players too, and I don't think Arteta's been doing that as much. You have a better team, you don't bark as much, and
he's confused because he doesn't know what fucking Gabby to shout. Just all the Gabby's right, huh?
Liverpool might have won the Premier League if Salah came back from AFCON injured instead of just psychologically traumatized. Stan, real quick question. Haaland, will he beat Mo Salah's record goal scoring? I think Salah's got the record, hasn't he, Tony? 35 league goals, I think it is.
Yeah, I think he'll break it.
Didn't Ronaldo get that one time as well?
If somebody knows like what the record is, what the Premier League record
Tom, answer the question. We know
Tom, but come on, Tom's got to know, right?
Yeah, Tom's going to know. He's got all those encyclopedias. He's got all those encyclopedias right next to him, ready for Kahoot on Sunday. So he'll know.
Yeah, his Pavarotti book. It's got to be in there somewhere, right?
His sports almanac.
There used to be a website called Ask Jeeves. Stan.
Oh yeah, I remember Ask Jeeves, the little snooty guy with the fucking tray. I hated that little shit. He knew too much. That little shit. Glad he went away. Little
He
fucking.
knew
He's a turn up, a
everything.
little snob like that, little bastard. You
Tom,
know.
38 goal season. We don't care about.
Andy Cole once scored 40, and there you go, Mr. Tom. That's right. So, I mean,
That's a good target for
I think
Haaland.
I think the answer is yes, he can.
Yeah.
Because he's a fucking
Liverpool.
monster. He scored
Yeah.
9 goals in a Champions League game, for fuck's sake. I mean, that is FIFA style on a novice setting.
He scored what? 9?
9 goals in one game, didn't he? In the
I don't
Champions
know
League.
about that.
Yeah.
Did he?
9 goals.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's get to the Brentford game. People have been waiting patiently. We have an Arsenal game coming up. Six games in. Now we've got 8 to go on the back end. And Stan, I'll start off with you. I think Brentford is going to be a good one to lead up to the North London derby. I'm going to throw up some things here from Brentford that I
Yeah,
don't
go
know if
on.
it's going to surprise you or not. Some stats,
Go on.
when you did the podcast and you had stats to where is it?
Can I
Welcome
just say
back,
as well,
Alonso.
I really hope that is the exhibit in our chat box.
What does that mean? What does
Pimp
that
my
mean?
Pimp My Ride. That's the guy that used to do Pimp My Ride.
Ah, okay. Yeah, Holland did score 9 goals in an under 20 World Cup game.
Madness.
Yeah. So
That is
listen,
madness, isn't it?
way ahead. All right, Stan. Brentford have played 3 games at home. They've beaten Man United. They've drawn with Everton. And Tom, cover your ears right now. They've beaten Leeds 5-2 in the last game. Out of the 3 away games, they've only got 2 draws away, but they did come back from a 2-0 deficit against Leicester City.
Can you tell me how many goals they've been scoring at home so far this season?
Yeah, add them up here. They've scored 10 goals at home in 3 games.
They score quite. They do quite well at home. They create a lot of chances and they score a lot of goals. The
Yeah.
thing that worries me about this particular fixture is, and we've highlighted it on this podcast quite recently, Arsenal don't seem to have a problem creating chances at the moment. Was it 22 in one game, 16 in another? It's the conversion rate that we seem to be suffering with. And this is the reason why, at some point we're going to talk about predictions like we usually do. I'm not going to go there yet, but I'm going to say that for some, this particular game, looking at my head and not my heart, I'm a little bit worried because both of these teams create a lot of chances. Brentford are creating chances, we're creating chances, and I'm really hoping in somehow in the time that since we last played a game, that's what we've been working on. Finishing
Yeah.
duels of some kind, getting them little goals out again, get them little goals out and get some more of that action going on. Because if not, then we might be looking at a draw.
Yeah. Alonso, would you look at Brentford and think they set up a little bit like this? Could be a little bit like the Manchester United game. They're going to counter attack us a little bit. We may have a lot of the possession, but they might try to hit us on the break. Or you think it's a different kind of game?
The difference is that we have faster players at Arsenal than what Manchester United do. Because Manchester United have McTominay, they have Maguire at the time, and they have all these players that were slow. With Arsenal, we have faster players like Zinchenko, like Ben White, like not Ben White, but Zinchenko, like Odegaard, like Gabriel, Martinelli, who's also fast. So, despite that they're willing to play defense as well. Like Saka's willing. So I think the issue is that can we kind of strike them? A very fast team as well. So I think they're coached very well. So yeah, I think they always give us, rather last year they gave us 6. I think last year at home we kind of did a good job with them. With that said, it's always a tough game. It's a derby game too. So
Yeah.
I think can happen in derby games. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a good game to watch. I think Brentford are gonna give Arsenal a hard time. And Brentford can put up a fight too. So yeah,
I think this is a really, really good game. Listen, we're beaten by Man United, and you want to get that out of your system. You're going to play a Europa League game. You beat FC Zurich. We could have scored more goals. We shouldn't have conceded the penalty. So 2-1 should have really been a 3-0 Tony. But I
Well,
think
that's the story of his whole season. We should have scored
shoulda,
way more goals than we have.
shoulda, coulda, right? Yeah, exactly.
That's
Especially in that FC Zurich game.
just
Exhibit
haven't been clinical.
Exhibit said if Haaland can surpass what Ronaldo and Messi do in his current age, then he will be the GOAT. And we have Mbappe coming through. We have Haaland coming through as the new Messi and the new Ronaldo.
But if you
But
compare their stats, Holland's way ahead of Mbappe.
yeah, yeah, he's gonna put up on. He doesn't touch the ball very much for Manchester City, but he does score a lot of goals. Um, so getting back to Brentford, is this the kind of game the players would want to go out and make amends for Tony?
They probably want to. The thing I'm worried about, the last two games, we played a super high line. We do that against Brentford. We're to pay for it. We
Yeah,
probably lose the game.
yeah,
We're have to keep the center backs back a little further. Can't play Zombie as high as we seen him the last game. He was up there right behind the attack. So we'd have to change the tactics a little bit, be a little bit more conservative. You can still press them, but just don't have a high line at the freaking midfield. You don't want your two center backs 2 foot off, 2 yards off the center line.
off the
Just
center line. Yeah, it's like they were playing offside at the halfway line. Of course, we know you can't play offside in your opposition's half. You know, we might be American, we might be
through balls,
planted from America.
through balls destroy you when you're set up that way.
Yeah.
It's just
Stan,
Yeah.
what do you see with this Brentford game? Is it similar styles? I'm thinking Manchester United had a tore Manchester United apart. Listen, Man United were a different animal back then, and they tore Leeds apart in the end as well.
It's very easy. It would be very easy for me to G up the team for this game. All I would do is blow up because he blows up them tweets, doesn't he, on a big board and that. I just blow up that big tweet of Ivan Tony.
We can
2
do one
seasons
of
back.
Tony Turner being doing the same thing, right?
We get a Tony Turner one up there, but I'd have the
Tweets of
Ivan
John,
Tony.
come on.
The Ivan Tony one up there when he said 2 seasons ago when we got done at the beginning of the season when he said that he had a nice kickabout.
yeah.
That's how I would G the team up, and I would say to them, I want to. You make him work today.
Mhm.
Don't let him have a kickabout today. Do you know what I mean? Let's not have a repeat of this. That's how you G him up.
Let's kick him about this game. That's what I'd say.
Stan,
But also as well, Tony Turner, Ivan Tony. See, I've got a confusion of the Tonys. Ivan Tony, he's gonna have his tail up for this game. The man's just got selected for England.
yeah.
A young man getting his international cap is going to be on top of the world. So
Now that
we
could
need
work
to.
both ways, Stan. Right? That could work 2 different ways. It could. He could not. Maybe he doesn't put in a good performance.
How old is he now?
I think it's
24.
probably the best time for him to be putting in a performance. So,
Yeah.
he's going to be
I agree with
as Danny Murphy would say, he's going to be at it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I know he's a favourite of yours, and
I like him.
since he's got rid of the man bun, he is warming to me. And
I'm trying
what's
to
his-
convince you.
What's his numbers
you.
for this season? Do you have that as you're
5
statting it up?
goals. I think he's got 5 goals.
In how many matches? Any
He
assists?
has scored 5 goals in 6 games, and he
Yeah.
scored 1/3 of all of Brentford's goals.
Any assists?
Well, now you're nitpicking. Come on.
Oh, no, I know. I'm generally interested.
I don't
because,
know.
I know that he's
would
a
have
name
to
right
Google
that a lot of Arsenal fans like. And I wasn't so sure a couple of seasons back. Because I know that he marauded it in the league below, didn't he? Marauded it,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure that I've seen the same thing. But he's man's been picked for England. He's been quite steady.
2 assists. So 5 goals, 2 assists in 6 games.
That's a good contribution.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Not too shabby. A little bit like Mitrovic last season, and now he's coming forward.
Can I just say one thing? I had a guy come in yesterday, right? A handyman to come in and do jobs in the apartment that needed doing. And he's been here before. And he comes in, he just calls me Arsenal. He's like, hey, All right, Arsenal. I think he's Serbian. Do you know what I mean? And all I got was Mitrovic this, Mitrovic that, Mitrovic this, Mitrovic that. Do you know what I mean?
He likes Mitrovic, huh?
Yeah, very much so.
He's probably like he could probably be president in a few years. Mitrovic could be president of Serbia, right? Am I right in saying that? Most EPL leagues 40 EPL goals 42 games. Andy Cole and Alan Shearer 34 and 38 for Mo Salah. Alonso, Ivan Toney, your archetypal centre forward, up against William Saliba. What do you think? It's a good test for each of them, right? You're on mute.
Turn off that fucking IndyCar shit. Come back. Come back to us.
Mark,
It's NASCAR.
Hello there.
Sorry.
Left circles.
Hello there.
Hello there.
right, Ivan Toney versus
I
Saliba.
heard
Both
you.
of them.
All right.
I think
Fuck it, I'll come then. Go on. What do you reckon?
I think Slater's going to take him out.
You can do the old pass if you want to.
Yeah,
Magnuson always took a pass.
I think Slater's going to take him out. I think that he's like, you know what? I had enough of your crap. So you're going to play for England. Ben White is. So, yeah, there you go. I think it's going to be a tough test. I think that Ivan Toney's a player we should have gotten or looked at during the transfer window. I think he'd be great in an Arsenal uniform, kit rather. But I think he's very talented, very very well mannered. Oh, he does the job on the pitch, right? And it's going to be a tough test for him. Sliba, that is, and as well as Megalash. So, you know, it's like I said, it's a tough game. I think it'll be a good test for both center backs, even our fullbacks as well, because he does have speed. He does it all. He even passes very well for being a striker, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm feeling kind of antsy actually because I think Ivan Toney's going to score a goal on this.
Yeah,
I would love Saliba to go in with a crunching tackle, clean, get the ball away from Mitrovic, leave him in a crumpled heap, and as Mitrovic gets back, as Tony gets back to his feet. Not you, Tony.
Come on, Arsenal. Come on, get it together.
Tony, obviously, but he says in his ear, "Remember when you said that you was having a kick about that last time?
Yeah.
I weren't playing then."
Yeah, I was at Marseille, and I wanted to stay at Marseille, right, Tony? Not gonna let you get that one, Tony. He wanted guaranteed minutes. He's getting guaranteed minutes now, Tony.
Yeah, guess why?
Why?
Right back was hurt. Right back was hurt.
It is kind of interesting how William Saliba was rested for the Zurich game, and Gabriel Magalhaes had to
That
play.
surprised me. I thought it would be. Actually, I thought it would be White and Holding, to be honest. But
makes you think Saliba might be the number one central defender at Arsenal right now. You don't know. We don't know. You know. Stan, Isam said this game will let us know how far our game management has come. There's another test. Arsenal fans always want Arsenal to pass another test. We did it at Crystal Palace. Now we have to do it again at Brentford.
See, here's the thing, right? People think that we're supposed to go invincible every season. It doesn't happen during the season. There will be losses and draws. It's just fucking par for the course. Is it the question I'm going to ask everybody is it really that bad if we came away with a 2-2 draw, for example?
It would not be the end of the world.
You know what I'm saying?
In the cold light of day, it might be a decent result. But
I just think we need as many points as we can get.
Because I'm looking at. I know if we're talking predictions, I'm going for a Desmond on this one. It's definitely a 2-2 for me. Yeah, maybe if we can etch out a 3-2, which, you know what I mean, there's a part of me that says that we could maybe get 3-2. And the reason I have 5 goals in there is because, as I said earlier, both teams are creating a lot.
I just want to not put a D beside an L. I want to put a W beside that L. You know, we talked about L's not turning. We don't want double L's. You know, we want We want
Like,
it
as in Cool J. Sorry.
as in yes.
Can you put up VX as or a symbol's other comment?
Sure can. The
The
one
physical
after
game
that,
one.
BX,
Physical game.
BX. This game might prove to be too physical for Odegaard. You
Not
know,
that one.
well, you
That's
said
not it.
physical game.
BX is BX. Uh, he's failed in most physical games. That is how you know Arsenal are lacking variety. He had another one.
Okay.
He rejected the one I was looking for.
Okay, okay.
Let me
So the
answer.
top-
Basically,
I'd like to speak about that question, though. I'd like to speak about that
one.
question.
This
Yeah, I'd
game
like
might prove to
to
be too
answer that.
physical for Odegaard.
What I would say is, when we signed, there were rumors about us signing Martin Odegaard and coming to us on loan. Even he was a name that I'd heard. I've heard that name, but I couldn't, I couldn't place him. So I watched a few things about him, And if you watch, there's really two good documentaries about him. He's always been playing in teams where everybody else has been years above him. He's been 15 years old playing with men.
And now,
So I know that you may think that he's a bit slight. He's no slighter than what Ozil looked like in build. Do you know what I mean? It's about getting into the right places and getting out before you get the knocks and being able to be quick on the ball.
He's bigger than Teabag.
Yeah, he looks more. Teabag looks more slight, and I'm glad that
Fabio Vieira.
Yeah, he does. But I mean,
Bag.
I think that Martin Odegaard's had more experience of playing with men. Obviously, his frame notwithstanding. I see what I did there, Tony. You're a dirty bastard. Until Tony laughed, right? I had no idea. You dirty. You know what I meant. Good one. You was quick on that, weren't you? You dirty bastard. But you know what I'm saying?
Out of the gutter.
I might be missing a leg, but I got quick wit.
The gutter's right here. The gutter's right here. You can just breathe above the gutter line. He's always in the gutter.
Fucking quick running on that. It was like, you know what I meant. But as I was saying, right, I think that
Odegaard likes playing with men.
He's my comment about tickling balls notwithstanding, I think that Martin Odegaard can stand his own, against bigger men. Is what I'm trying to say.
It is. Don't stop, Stan. Stop. Is Tony another Carton Cole or Cameron Jerome? He ran the champ.
That was a good. I
think he's the real deal. I think he's proved himself now for 2 seasons. Guys, I want to ask you all, from what I see in the International League Cup, Alonso, Euro and champion, do you think our EPL quality degraded or other leagues is improving? I think our league is improving. I don't think it's degraded, right?
It's all the TV money.
I think it's improving because you bring in players from different countries, you put them in situations to start in certain 11. You bring in different point of views, different coaching styles. So I think it's improving a lot. I think TV ratings are pretty good. I think you're seeing fans from here in the States supporting different teams, and they want their teams to do well, obviously. So there's other things that factor in on why the EPL is doing so well. I think so anyway. I think you're seeing players from the States start coming in. You're starting to see players from the States and other countries go overseas to play, and it's important for worldwide growth of the sport. So I think the Premier League is growing, in my opinion. So yeah, I think the future is very bright for the Premier League. I think there's a certain standard as well.
Yeah, look, I think the Premier League's becoming the only market now. I think City, the money's there, Stan. City have had to sell players within the Premier League to teams below them.
All I read now is players. I mean, that guy that we've been linked with. I call him Eminem because he's got like 2 names that begin with M. It's like Murdick. Do you know what I'm talking about? He played the other night.
Mudrick, I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, Eminem, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden now he's like, you see him, he's like wide-eyed, and he's like, because everybody wants to play in the Premier
Playing
League.
well. He's
Everyone
playing
wants to
well.
play in the Premier League, and you know why they want to play in the Premier League? Because that's where the fucking dough is.
Yeah.
And so if the dough's there, you bring in the best players. There's only one reason why Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi aren't playing in the Premier League is because they've got a principality behind them that can shovel money into their pockets. Yeah. Otherwise, they'd be here. There's no one else in League is going to be able to pay the kind of dough that they would want. And we are the biggest. We are the biggest league. We are the biggest league because of the dough that's involved.
Yeah. Down the road, we did this one quite early, but quickly, I'm from Ireland, and I'm not in favor. I'm living in the States 20-some years now. Not in favor at all of the All-Star match in the Premier League. And I think to a man, we all kind of agreed. Tony and Alonso down bottom are American. They were not in favor of it either. We do know what the Premier League's all about, and we don't want it to be mixed.
Do you know what I'd rather see? And this is a different answer to what
Gary
I said
has
earlier.
joined the green room. Yep.
Because we spoke about this earlier, but again, giving it more thought, I would rather see, a game where it's maybe, the winner of the Premier League plays the winner of the Scottish League. I'd rather see something of that nature if you want to put on an extra game. But I'm not interested in fucking Arsenal players going to play, lining up next to fucking Eric Dyer and coming home with some fucking unknown disease that we can't get rid of or anything. No,
And Gary's shaking his head as well. So
hey, Gary, all right, mate.
There he is.
Hello. Hey there, you guys.
Where are you? You look like you're in an English Indian restaurant with the background there. The decor is very. If people from England will know what I'm talking about.
That's my Peloton. So.
I'm not talking about the wall.
That's just some wall. That's some window coverings.
How are you?
Tony's in rare form tonight, so be very careful what you say about the Peloton. Gary.
Tony's on fire, mate.
Yeah.
Oh crap.
The Peloton is behind him. Tony.
My quit wit is I'm for him.
Gary, real quick, we covered this really early in the podcast. What's your thoughts on the All-Star match? Or do you have any thoughts on it?
Well,
Gary gave you a zoom in shot of
he
the
should have stopped at the point where he would stop it. I'm not talking. You're not talking. You're not quiet, Tony. Good job. No, I think his idea of making money for the lower leagues made sense, but then he needed to stop there.
Yeah.
All-Star game. It's more know your audience kind of thing there, right?
Yeah.
It probably could work. And as somebody said, if somebody else from another country brought it up, it probably wouldn't be as visceral as it's been taken by a lot of people. So I think that's part of it as well. He's kind of come
Gary, we're also talking about the same man who sat down with Thomas Tuchel and said, "Listen, why don't we play 4-4-3?" That's like
no, I know he has no clue what he's doing. Right, he's a billionaire with his toys, man. He's like,
do you know what I think, Gary? And I said this earlier. Coming from England myself, and I've been part of the banter when it's when I was younger, laughing at Americans saying soccer and all of that. But living over here now, doing podcasts with people like yourself, Tony, Alonso, hearing the commitment, getting up early, watching games, and all of that. But hearing the comments from Todd Bowley. He's just throwing you guys back into the Stone Age. You know what I'm getting at? He's made it. Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Let us back. Assembled will be convinced. Assembled will be convinced with a 2-0 win. So, Arsenal, you better deliver, and the Assembled will be convinced.
Are we talking about the Brentford game?
Brentford, yeah.
Yeah, if we're talking about being a top 4 team, then we need to be able to handle them, and Tony needs to be quieted early.
Yeah. Yeah.
Often.
No, not that Tony. Not that Tony. The other Tony.
They both need to be taken care of early and often and quiet.
I think Saliba should mark that Tony every weekend and Thursdays as well.
Well, I'm hoping to get to see Vieira in there because I think I'd like to see more of what he can do.
Yeah.
And
I think he's too slight for this game.
If Tomiyasu's healthy, I want to see
Out-muscling.
him in there too, because I think that will open us. That will keep things clean on the back line.
Mhm.
Can I say one thing? I know I hear a lot of people talking about the slightness of Teabag, and I have to say that he doesn't look any more diminutive to me than Santi Cazorla might have looked when he first came to Arsenal. And like
I think they're different. One guy's like
look, you know what I'm
5'8".
saying though. You don't have to be fucking. You don't have to be Lou Ferrigno. You don't have to be Lou Ferrigno to play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, he plays in the. He's what Portuguese, right?
Portuguese, yeah.
So I mean,
And they adapt well.
if it's anything like the Brazilian league, it's going to be kind of a little tough game, right? I mean, people coming at you.
BX Gunner, I think the Everton game will have to be in the new year. February. Tony will maybe give us the best.
I think what is the number? It's like
Next year.
44. It's like 44 matches in 24 weeks if we make it into some of the later games.
Later rounds. Yeah. All right.
So a lot of games.
Gary, we've been talking about Brentford and they're unbeaten at home in 3 games. Okay, it's small sample size. They beaten United 4-0, drew at Everton 1-1. And Mr. Tom, listen, it was 5-2, and they were good value for the 5 goals. No matter what way Tom can rationalize it, Leeds were beaten fair and square on the day. So it represents a test for me similar to Crystal Palace. Would you agree with that, Gary?
Yep, because we're going to have to. I mean, who else scares us besides Tony?
Besides Ivan Toney, he scored 1/3 of their goals. So,
I know, but who else scares us besides him that it would have to be?
I wouldn't be necessarily scared, but they do have Bueno and
Lindstrom.
Right.
Lindstrom as well.
So it's another challenge for Saliba to mark a strong, tall player, center forward. I think it's going to be good for Saliba as much as it's going to be for Ivan Toney. Stan, do you think the comparison with Crystal Palace away is a good comparison?
Yeah, they're both dogged teams, but I think that Brentford are more of a goal threat. You know what I mean?
They're also very physical.
More of a goal threat.
Yeah.
So as I say, we're going to have to really be at it on that day to come out with a draw. Yeah.
Brentford are more intense as they assembled, better drilled. Fulham, in my view, will have to improve the Fulham game plan. And, Brentford have only been beaten by Fulham in the last minute Mitrovic goal as well. So they've not lost. They've only lost 1 game like ourselves. Obviously, they're drawn 2 or 3 as well. So, Tony, before we get off of Brentford, any other thoughts of the Brentford game, Tony?
I just hope we're
fixtures
up for it since we've had a week and a half off. A lot of times we've kind of don't come into those games with the intensity we should with breaks. This is going to be a very physical game. So it'll be interesting to see how the center backs hold up if they stay in position and aren't too high up the pitch. If not, Brentford could have a field day with us because they got the physical attackers that can get past them. So we're at the switch our tactics from the last 2 games.
Gary?
The reason why I guess it was not in my head, shaking my head, is because I don't think of Tony as a speedster, as a Rashford, because that's kind of where we got beat with our high line. Like, I know he's strong enough to take the ball and control it a little bit, but is he going to be running off our fullbacks and getting into good space?
Our fullbacks are going to be up in attack, so it's.
No, I know, but that's not his style of play. That's not where he's going to kill us, right?
Yeah, we're going to have to try and eliminate the supply to Ivan Toney. Stan, you agree with that? Maybe cut out the supply line. The cross is coming in.
Yeah, but he's also good with second, like pre-assist, if you will. He's also good in build-up. Who's the other guy that kind of scores a lot of goals for them?
Lindstrom, the midfielder.
Mbuemo.
Yeah, he was the one that that's the one that everybody wanted Arsenal to buy, right? He's not been too hot, but I thought there was another player that
Lindstrom.
yeah.
Lindstrom is midfielder. Yeah.
Okay. So, he's not just hanging around the penalty box. He does other things outside as well in build up play. So, I think he's going to have his tail up as well. As I said, he's just got his England call up. He's going to be.
I like to think we've got more weapons than they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Martinelli and Jesus, just those two, could not neutralize, but kind of be the opposite of Tony in terms of what they can do.
And again, Gary, the title of the podcast is "Carry the Motivational Pain." I'm thinking last season 2-0 against Brentford, and we just come off that defeat from Man United. So it's definitely the players should be hurting from those two things and going out on Sunday and determined to get 3 points and get back on track.
Ray, it's the Silva who's the other striker.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Coming off the bench, maybe. Okay. Anything else, Gary? We're just gonna backtrack a little bit, bring you up to speed. What were your thoughts on the Brazil players, the Arsenal Brazil players, not going to be called up for Brazil? I think our thoughts were at least two of the Gabriels are certain to go to Qatar, and it's really just a call up for peripheral players for Brazil.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, Martinelli might be the one who's going to miss out, and the other two, like you said, I think are destined to definitely go. So, not too concerned there. And if they don't go, then they're resting. So, I know Jesus is going to go, right? And Gabriel Margulies is definitely going to go. So, yeah, no, I don't think it means much. I think we've always had, sometimes these players rest. They're going to be playing a lot of football. So, give them the break.
Any other thoughts?
Wouldn't we rather see him not play, be more hungry, saying, "Hey, you didn't play me. Look what I can do." That'd be kind of a nice side benefit.
For who?
Any of the three Brazilian, if they don't.
Yeah, but Martinelli is the one he is actually the one that's fighting for a spot more than the other two.
Yeah.
I mean,
to make any of them hungry.
Let's say it's like buy, sell, or keep, sell, loan, right? Gabriel Jesus is certain to go. Gabriel Magalhaes most likely will go, and Gabriel Martinelli is fighting.
What the hell is Gary doing?
Fighting to go.
Is Jesus
here?
Is Jesus a certain to go? Because didn't he go to a tournament in Brazil once before and didn't score any goals?
Who,
and
Gabriel Jesus?
Yeah, and it was after that tournament where he kind of started to say, "I want to play out wide, maybe."
Yeah, it's a bit like Ainsley Maitland-Niles, right? I know it's a bad comparison, but we strongly advised Ainsley Maitland-Niles to be a right back. He didn't want to be a right back.
It's hard. It's hard when there are like 11 attackers from him to choose from.
Yeah. So Gabriel Jesus will be the deputy to Neymar through the middle. So there's not that much competition through the middle stand.
No, I thought Neymar was on the left. No,
Neymar will play through the middle.
Really?
You got Rafinha and you got playing out wide, right?
Vinicius.
Oh yeah, Vinicius Junior has taken up that. Yeah,
he's actually pretty decent. He's not a bad player. He's pretty decent. Plays for a small.
He's fucking wicked on FIFA. He's wicked on FIFA.
He's Gary. Good news for you, Gary. You picked up some points. You moved past Mahir in the rankings.
Oh, what other rankings? Just have a look at that. Let's have a little look.
Now you're like 5th place, Gary.
Look how close we are at the top 3.
Tony. As my old sales manager used to say to me, if you're that close, you may as well be.
What was it Bill Shankly used to say? First is first, second is nowhere.
Yeah.
So, but this year, if Arsenal gets second, I'll be happy. I'll be happy. All right.
True.
Gary, any other Any other thoughts about anything Arsenal going on before we get into the other games?
Did you guys talk about
Sam.
whether or not you want Partey to play?
Well, we do want Partey. We didn't really go into it, but we do think the Partey. I think Partey will be ready to go. Right?
I don't
I
want him to
I
play.
I don't want him to play one because he has to go to Ghana and go on international duty,
Oh yeah, fuck.
and I'm just like, you know what? I don't want him being exerted at all,
Told you.
any extra than he needs
Gary
to.
wants him carry
just
around.
lie
You
to
know,
his
like
face
in
and
the
tell
in the
him it's
Pharaoh
no
days
problem.
when they used to carry them around on the
I
thing.
don't want him burning any calories or put any strain on that body.
No,
Just
I
say
was
he's picked up
speaking.
tightness in his last training
No,
session.
Gary,
I-
I was speaking on your behalf while we were talking about this. I know Gary won't want them to go on international duty. It's Arsenal 100%, right?
I don't know. Well, I always said that we're paying millions of dollars for this man,
Yeah.
and he gets injured, and then he's healthy in time for international duty. How know what? And then he'll come back, and we're like, you know, you need to play on the 1st of October. So no matter what you do, you know you have to play on the 1st of October.
Yeah.
Partey, you have to play on the 1st of October. You know that should be in the back of his mind. Like, he needs to redeem himself
So,
on the 1st of October. I want us to forget about the last, about the push. That
mhm.
needs to be a distant memory for us. And until he gets out there and has another good game out there against that lot, it'll always be in our mind. We need to win that
Yeah,
match. So
we need to keep him around and just play him in a couple of closed door games and start him at.
it's not going to happen because he's
Oh,
already been slated to go.
I'll be right back, but I'm going to leave you and Tony to talk about this, right? I
Mhm.
believe Arsenal players feel a strong duty to play for their countries, and they're always going to try to make themselves available for a World Cup or international duty that will keep them in the team. So you and Tony talk about that for a second, or just heckle
Well,
me as I leave.
uh, Ray,
Bye, Ray. Damn it, Ray! Why'd you have to leave us in this format? There you go. Thank you,
no,
Ray.
no, I don't mind them wanting to do that, but I want to see that same kind of determination when they play for Arsenal, right? How
Yeah,
comes they go away, come back injured, and they're gone for the rest of the season, right?
yeah. That's why.
Or they're out for like a quarter, I guess what is it, 2 or 3 games, but now they're ready to go, but then they have to fly away. It's like
That's why you
we're
had
just getting
Wenger always trying to get compensation for him. He did his best trying to get players that were injured or on the fringe of being played too much. He always tried to do everything he could between the national teams to say, hey, these players aren't ready. I'm not sending them. That's what I do. I just say, I'm not sending them. What are they to do to you? You own the player.
Tyrant Tony.
Yeah.
I know. Not. I mean, I
Not
just want
only do I
it.
have a quick wit,
Yeah,
Stan,
but I
I
mean,
can be a
it just
tyrant.
it doesn't show their dedication to the squad when they are, like I said, they will, like you said, go out of their way to make sure they're ready for international duty.
Ju-
But yet, we need you here, and we're paying you millions here, but all you're doing is going and sitting on a training table. For me, that's a waste of my money. I don't want my money being spent on a training table and then shipped around the world when it's international duty time, and then coming back broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too many times we've seen that happen. Players go away, they come back broken, and then we sit with them on a training table waiting for them to get ready again. It's like, you know, uh,
I'd like to touch on our injuries, if I may, because
Hmm.
taking out Kieran Tierney because he had his injury problems before he came to us. You look at someone like, for example, Tommy Asu goes out with a muscle injury. While he's recovering with a muscle injury, gets a muscle injury in the other leg. You look at Thomas Partey, a player that apparently before he came to Arsenal, the guy was injury free all the time. He was like Teflon. He was like Xhaka, always ready, always played, never
Yeah.
injured. Comes to Arsenal, has injuries, breaks down when he comes back for injuries. And you look at Emil Smith Rowe now. The guy's fucking getting injuries when he's warming down. So I'm wondering whether we have a training regime which doesn't suit all of the players, because everybody's built individually. Your bodies are different. And, we've always had this problem with injuries at Arsenal going back a while. You only have to look at players like Diaby, Rosicky, Robin Van Persie, Diaby. We've always had these players, players when we can't get the most out of them because of injury. But in between that time, we have changed our medical team, right? In that time, remember we brought in Shad Forsyth. So it's not like we've had the same continuous team. So do any of you buy into that? Maybe there's something to do with our training that doesn't suit certain people, and it's not being picked up on, because it strikes me that a lot of these injuries are muscle injuries, muscular injuries.
I believe we don't practice the way we play, meaning that these guys go into games not essentially, prepared for what they turn it on to play in the game. They never practice that way. So it's like you can't do that for me. I always say you practice the way you play, and I don't believe they do.
I think it's changed with Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, Gary.
I would counter Gary, what Gary just said with, I truly believe that Mikel Arteta is the manager that no matter how good a player you are, if you don't work hard during the week, he believes in you train to play. We all heard stories about Tony Adams and Patrick Vieira being terrible trainers, but we all know what they could do in the game. And maybe some players, they get a pass to do that. Dennis Rodman was the same. Come in while the managers
you're talking about world-class players, and we're talking about players just trying to work on their craft right now. And so,
no, but you're saying
then you had Diaby, who was trying.
There are a few players, and the ones that you named are players. What world-class players, right? Top Arsenal players, right? Who are you comparing them to? Which one of those players are you comparing them to? None of them right now.
No, but you was talking about training, and I truly believe that if you don't work hard during the week, Mikel Arteta ain't picking you. I believe he's that kind of manager.
I don't think they work hard enough, is what I'm saying.
Really?
I hear what you're saying. I don't know, because I think they can't last.
I think Arteta's more about the technique and stuff, buying into what he's saying, and going out there and excel the physical part of it. I think it's more of a technical part of it.
Being in the right place at the right time, right, Tony?
Yep, I think it's more technical, not the physical part of it.
Isn't that what Pepe was? His wasn't necessarily about practicing hard. It was doing some of the things that he wanted, like tracking back and all those type of things.
But Mikel Arteta said it, didn't he, in the documentary when he was absent? He said he was watching the footage and everything, and he said there's only a small handful of players that are taking the training seriously. There's the next bit that they're doing it, and he said there's another group that are just showing up. And then you remember that other part in the documentary, where my favorite bit, where he said he was there in person. He goes, I see you in training. You do this. No, when he done that, again. So he doesn't take lightweights in training. And I don't think if you're Mbappe, even if you're Mbappe or Haaland, he wants to see you responding. And there's two sides to the training, right? There's a side where they're in the, they were looking at him with the board and he's moving the stuff around and he's watching them. And if you're glazed over and you're not taking any of this shit in, I'm sure he's going to notice it. I used to do that shit in class, and
I think it's a main thing.
Found out every time. Do you know what I mean?
Just being bought into it, being a team player. I think that's more what it's looking at.
And going back to the documentary, even my missus picked up on my missus. Right, she doesn't watch all the games like I do. She watched a few episodes. She said to me, "Pepe doesn't look engaged."
Yeah,
and I think if my missus can see that, he can see that, and then you're not part of it.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're talking about like the injuries and stuff, the stuff that you're talking about is some of that's mental, right? And Pepe mentally is checked out, like you said, mentally.
Yeah, they haven't bought in.
He doesn't care enough, right? If he did care, no way Saka takes his spot.
He doesn't.
Right?
I think part of it as well is he doesn't believe that Arteta believes in him. He didn't believe.
It's got to be a two-way street, because I always would say that as well. But he has to want some of that as well. He doesn't look like he does. He doesn't look like he's bothered by the fact that he doesn't play, and that Saka, a 19-year-old, can come and take his spot. Now think about it. A 19-year-old came in and took your spot, and you just lay down and
He's
said,
just
"All right."
very introverted.
Yeah, but I mean, the man's taking your spot.
Yeah. No.
The man is taking your spot.
Where's the fight? Where's your competition? So you bet Tierney's going to respond to Zinchenko. Zinchenko is going to respond to Tierney. You know those personalities are going to bounce off each other and do the best competition for
Yes,
the team.
I have no doubt that if Nketiah was somebody else sitting behind Jesus, you would see probably even more from Jesus right now, because he would pull him, and you would see somebody come in who's just got as much of influence on the game as Jesus does.
Right? It's hard to see Jesus giving more than he does already.
No, but I mean, they can push him a little bit more. He wants to be one of the top players on the Brazilian team. He's not there. His stats aren't even there compared to some of the others that we're talking about, right?
The other part of that, we're talking about players who checked out in that All or Nothing documentary. I think Tavares was another one who had checked out. When Arteta went, I didn't like the way Arteta went after him in the dressing room. You want to be in the Champions League? He could have picked any of the players, any of the 15, 16 players in that room. He went at Tavares about that.
And you know what? And that I didn't even, that's even before we even knew all of that stuff. The way that he kind of, for me, I don't mind if he pulls him off, but it didn't seem like he pulled him off with, like, you know what, I got you. You'll be back in tomorrow. It seemed like he got pulled off for doing things that everybody else was doing. Right? That's what it seemed like. He's like picking on your youngest players who are still trying to figure out there is no way he should have actually been on the pitch based on what he was asked to do.
But wasn't there one game where he gave him props and threw him that bar of chocolate thing? I don't know what that was all about. It's like he played a good bit of Kit Kat or some shit.
Yeah, but think about the mistakes he was making. It was somebody who never defended before. Like, I have never defended professionally or at all, but like I would know, like, okay, I can't let this happen too many again and again and again.
So he deserved his dressing down then.
Yeah,
he did. But like, this is a young player, right? And he's impressionable. And you're trying to make, like we always talk about. Well, we don't want to put him out there and put him in a situation where
tough love, Gary.
Hurt it. No, but you guys, all of you guys, all say this. We don't want to put our center backs out there on the pitch, because why? If they get beat up and get run on over and over again, it's not good for their career. Well, that's exactly what happened to Tavares.
Yeah.
They put him out there and he got embarrassed over and over again. Right? And now he's going to.
I just thought in that situation he could have picked a more established player to make an example of, because it seemed like he was saying to the whole team, do you want to play in Champions League? But he's pointing at Tavares in that situation. BX kind of says, I'm seeing Jesus doing some lacquer shit. Deep too much.
Yeah, but he's got the awareness to get up there still, and he's got the legs to get up there. That's the difference.
That's not. Yeah, that's definitely not my problem with that.
Any of you here?
He'll start the attack, like you said, from midfield, but he'll be in the box when the ball's there, which, like I said, would never ever do. And that's the thing I'm hoping that Nketiah picks up on as well, is that, yes, sometimes you might have to come back. Nketiah right now, he won't continue with everybody else on the attack. He'll kind of seem like he just jogs into space, and it's like, no, you need to be in the box. You need to be in the box. When they look up and they cross, you should be there for it.
And poor old Lacazette's lost his voice as well. His vocal cords sounded terrible in that interview. Did you hear that interview? Lacazette. I'll have to
Was he been on the balloons again?
He has a polyp, I think, in his vocal cords or something like that. He lost his voice terribly. I'll have to share that with you later. Well, listen,
you're
right. We go into the Brentford game in good shape. As BX Skinner said, we've been given a very generous resting period. It's going unnoticed. I don't think it's going unnoticed. But hey, Tony, let's get started.
I don't like us with a big rest, but
yeah, you want to keep playing. You want to play every 3 days, right?
I don't want to play every 3 days. I want to be at least playing once a week, but it just seems like we're not up for it when we had a big break.
Last Thursday we had a game.
I know that's gonna be 11 days.
Squad small as it is, man. I think it's a blessing in disguise in some ways, especially with a key player like Party out.
No, well, not really.
Not
We're going to be
not when
playing
you have
2 times a
super
week,
congested.
and then we're
You
going to
have
go.
FA
Well,
Cup
it would have been nice
starting,
to be ready
League
for
Cup,
this kind of.
everything's gonna start rolling in the new year.
Hang on, this sounds like a really bad mix.
I don't know. He's just talking over me.
The couple known as Tony and Gary, speaking in unison. Tony, let's get into the fixtures. Okay, I don't expect anyone to pick their upsets in this segment, but have a look, Tony. Have a look. Nottingham Forest.
Look at the first one. Can I say the first one?
Yes.
In reverse order.
Yes, you go first.
The first one's gonna be a who gives a fuck game of the week. Aston Villa at home versus Southampton.
I care, Tony.
Could be the end of Steven Gerrard because Southampton are one of them games where
I care.
Just give someone a fucking humping.
I care.
The last thing Villa need is a humping right now.
Yeah.
Don't say those words to Tony, Stan. He takes it to the next level.
He's talking about playing with males.
17 versus 12, Tony.
Yeah.
Steven
I don't really care.
Steven Gerrard could do with a win. Southampton's going to go through the season win, loss, win, loss, win, loss.
He's got to get him up for this game or he's going to be even more on the hot seat. They can't keep playing. They got too talented of a squad to be where they're at.
So Tony, you do care, right? You do care about this match.
I don't give a fuck if they get sacked or not. I don't care.
You're talking about like the Niners.
The games that are cancelled, I think, is Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, Leeds. And what's
all the big rivalry games because they won't have enough police for whatever reason.
Alonso, why do you care about Aston Villa, Southampton?
Because Aston Villa are a good enough side to stay up, where Aston Villa, they seem like they are not up for it sort of time. You know, you always see, Gerard change the captaincy around and all that stuff, which is not good for his team, I guess. So Southampton got a good enough team where they could surprise people one week, and the other week they could look like crap. So, I think this is a good game to watch because they both have something to prove, I guess. Mm-hmm. So this is my I care about the match. This is my I care about the scoreline match of the week.
I love the Alonso Tony vibe going on right now.
And Alonso's coming up with counter
it seems, Tony, you're involved in everything. It's you and Gary, it's you and Alonso, it's you and me.
I don't me and Tony are fine. Stop creating something that's not there.
Don't you see us on Mondays?
Right, it's me and you, buddy. I'm just being nice today.
All right, it's not very often me and Gary.
Haven't you noticed the symbol? And those guys always kind of, it's you
see
and
that
Derek.
smile on Gary's face? Gary has that smile when he's beating me up. I love it.
He has a smile on the face because he's got his fucking.
Oh, what happened there?
The censor. Stop.
I know the censor.
Too many F-bombs. We have to wait for him. We can't just not know what he was going to say there. All right, Tony, what happened? And what were you saying?
Yeah. I got a call. I said, Gary's fucking happy because his fucking Peloton's behind you. That's why his face is glowing.
In about 1 hour from now, Gary will be jumping on that, maybe.
I'll be right back.
Jumping
no, that's not how it works, Ray. Nobody's jumping on anything.
Well, see, I seen you had for that thing. You're jumping on it.
Gary, what do you think, Aston Villa, Southampton?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, both teams have something to lose in terms of, one of them a match could be gone, the other one is just sitting in the, towards the bottom of the table. So it actually should be a good game in that sense. Mm-hmm. Because they're, so yeah, no, it could be, everybody's just checking it out to see, if he does get fired before the match is over, so.
I remember
Southampton's actually been Southampton I believe had better games than Leicester. So we'll see.
I remember Liverpool podcasters talking about Steven Gerrard is the next chosen one, and I don't think it's very difficult when you
Chosen
have.
for what? Licking hubcaps.
Stan,
They're talking about him and going back to Rangers. The Rangers are like, we'll take you back.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be the next manager?
Different level. No disrespect. You know, I've got a Scottish background and shit, but it is a different level.
Yeah.
Very much.
It's tough when you take that jump in the Premier League. Brendan Rodgers did it, and it worked pretty well for him. He hasn't
Won an FA Cup.
He hasn't damaged his reputation.
He's won an FA Cup, right? You know, he's not come and won leagues like Alex Ferguson did, for example, from Aberdeen. He's won an FA Cup, which is good.
Yeah.
Was he the man? He wasn't the man. He wasn't the manager when they won the league. You know, he never won the league with Liverpool.
No, that was
again. You can connect the dots back to Steven Gerrard and the slip. You know,
I think if they gave him enough time, he would have at Liverpool. I don't think they gave him enough time.
You think so?
Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers, possibly. Yeah.
I think he just got to a level.
All right, Stan. The next one is Nottingham Forest in 19th place up against Mitrovic and his boys, Fulham.
Oh yeah,
that'll be Mitrovic, right?
According to my fucking handyman, he came round. He just calls me Arsenal. All right, Arsenal. Oh, okay, fair enough. Could be worse, I suppose. You know what I mean? But isn't there going to be a managerial change somewhere? Isn't there talk about the Nottingham Forest?
No,
manager perhaps going to Brighton.
I think Liam Cooper is building something there at Nottingham Forest. They've spent a lot of money. I think they have,
haven't they?
The most money.
They brought in a left back again. There's a left back, right? You know, sometimes you find. I don't know if you know those people out there that play FIFA on career mode. You go to the websites, you look for a young potential player that you've never even heard of. There's a few. Yuri Tielemans was one once upon a time, but another one was that Renan.
Don't say that name.
Not that name. Lima was a
Renan Lodi, left back.
Lodi.
And
Yeah,
you know, if there was like he was always in my team, you know, as a backup left back, and would make it into as a first team contender for a left back. And you see these names in the real world now, and here he is over here now playing in the Premier League. So I love to see that. When that happens, do you know what I mean? Like art imitating life. But they've spent quite a bit of dough, Nottingham Forest, and I've always felt that they, you know, especially from my childhood, they were a big team growing up. You know, I always remember when they bought the first £1 million player in Jerry Francis. You know, I can remember reading it in the newspapers as a little kid. Trevor Francis, sorry, yeah, Trevor Francis, Jerry Francis, yeah, a long time ago. So. But Fulham, you know, they've had some tidy results. Yeah. You know, they've had some other results where they haven't fared. They seem a little bit like a Southampton, don't they? Where, you know, they can put out a good game and then there's no consistency to back it up.
Yeah.
So,
but they've been pretty good. Fulham have been pretty good so far this season. We took them. I think they were unbeaten when we beat them.
I'm going to go. Is it at Nottingham Forest?
It's at Nottingham Forest, so you would tend to favour them.
I'm going to be conservative and go for a draw.
Draw. Okay. 1-1 draw. Gary?
1-1, but...
3-3.
All these weird pans and Gary's Peloton.
Nottingham Forest are home to Fulham.
Wait, Tony was interrupting you again.
Nottingham Forest Fulham.
Gary looks like he's doing his pod from a safe house. Because the authorities are.
It looks like he's trying to.
It's a very different setting, Gary. You got the backdrop and all of that. You look like you're on the run, and you're just like, this is a safe house. You're doing a quick podcast, and then you're going to pack up and leave before the feds turn up. But you know, but even though he's on the run, he's still coming to do the podcast, and I like that.
There you go. I'm going to go. Nottingham Forest is home. I'm going to go with them.
Okay, yeah. Nottingham Forest to beat Fulham. Tony.
I'm going to agree with Stan. Probably 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. I think it'll be 1-1 draw as well. I think Fulham have been a tough team to break down. And
what did Alonso say?
Their fullbacks are good. What does Alonso say? Do we care about this result, Alonso?
Yeah,
Forest
because
versus Fulham.
because
Freighter.
who's been come out from retirement? Nicholas Bentner.
Now
Right.
it's going to be Nicholas Bentner. It used to be Kieran Gibbs.
So
Now it's Nicholas Bentner.
I'm going for Nottingham Forest 1-0.
All right.
Can I just
1-0
a quick question? Is who else is? I know they've this Nottingham Forest have spent money, but are there any other names that I should know about other than Lodi? Who else are they brought in?
Yeah, who's the guy from used to be United, had a loan spell with West Ham.
Oh, Lingard.
Lingard's there. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
yeah, they've actually picked up about 20 players over the summer. So
It's even more
Gary's
than
gonna
that.
be like, it can be done. You can get more players. It can be done. You can bring 20 players in the summer if you want to, if you have the willpower to do it. You know what I mean?
Harry Redknapp used to have the willpower.
Huh?
Harry Redknapp used to have the willpower every window.
24 players, Ray. 24.
24 players. That's like 2 teams, Tony. Okay. Stan, this is one we're going to be watching Saturday morning. It's Wolverhampton Wanderers at home to Manchester City. We have a vested interest in this one. Can Wolverhampton Wanderers hold City back?
No.
And the Terminator.
They have a cyborg playing as a number 9 who just like puts the ball in the back. But the fucking goal he scored the other night. I mean,
Yeah.
if Xhaka had scored that, he would have been booked for dangerous play, right? Because they would have got out a fucking ruler, measured how high his leg was off the ground. But in all seriousness, now, I mean, the guy just scores from the weirdest of angles and stuff. So no, I'm not going to bet against Man City at the moment.
Can you imagine the people that said he couldn't handle the Premier League?
For me, it wasn't whether he could handle it; it's whether he can last. So,
Gary, what did we say was the goals? The record 40 goals, right?
40, Andy
yeah,
Cole.
something like that. Yeah.
Can Haaland beat 40 this season, Gary?
If he stays healthy, that is the only question. Will he get to play enough games to actually get to that number? And personally, I don't think they're going to want to have to play him that many games.
He's got like 10 already.
They're going to sit him more than they're going to like. Hopefully, they're going to sit him for their sake. Then he's missing games because he can't.
Do you know what the mad thing is about him as well? He don't even touch the ball that much. It's not like he's Henry, running around with the ball. He hardly touches the ball, and it's like boom goal. You're like, I thought he was asleep all game.
Now,
he definitely does not waste. He definitely does not waste his opportunities when they come, and they're never just, oh, this is an easy one, right? I tap in. No, I'm going to have to split up these two center backs here, and miss my leg between these two players. They don't even know where the ball is, but my leg does for some reason.
Have you noticed as well that when he scores his goals, it's never a worldie. When I mean a worldie, he's never outside of the box and blasts the curler in that bends around the keeper. He's always in the he just taps him in.
What? No, what I will. It's not exactly tap in because he has to move his body in such a way that he can control the ball.
Yeah, but there's never a lot of power on the ball, is there? Even that one that he scored the other day, it was more about technique and direction.
Technique. Exactly.
There was no power. He's never like outside of the box and it falls to Haaland and it's like boom and it's like top corner.
A lot of them he just lost in there. He just lost.
I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying he's just a unique individual.
But the problem is he's the biggest guy in the field, and he's still allowed to run freely into the box, and you're like, you can't do that. Not now. How many more times does he have to show you that if you give him an inch, he's going to take it, and you're going to get punished for it every time? Yeah. You cannot give the man anything. No space, no time, nothing. He cannot even know that the ball is being crossed. If he does, you're in trouble.
But you know the weird thing about that, right? Aaron Robin, even though it's a different position, Aaron Robin always scored the same goal. So you would think, surely everyone knows what's going to happen right now. When he gets to that certain point upfield, he's going to cut in, and he did it every time. No one could stop him. It's just weird, right?
Quick sidebar.
But he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it consistently, like over and over and over again. And it's like he'll just, it's coming. You just don't know when it's coming, and it always comes. And you're like, damn it! I knew it was going to happen.
Again,
I'm getting Gary caught up in everything we talked about earlier. So quick answer, Gary.
I'm trying to figure out why Gary's bumping up and down.
Gary, are you? He's holding the phone.
He's looking out for the feds.
Yeah.
Running.
Hey, Gary, really quickly, are you happy that the Manchester City fixture got kicked into January against us?
I don't know if I am. You know what? Yes, I'm okay with it.
We'll take
you want a more congested fixture list? Yay!
No,
it is what it is, Tony. It is what it is.
It was going to happen no matter what, and we have, and once they canceled our game, that was the only thing that made any sense. So we're screwed that way. But you know what? This is hopefully another reason why Arteta needs to go to his boss and say, you know what? In January, I need a couple of things.
Okay.
Right? I need a couple of things. Look at the schedule that they have to go through, and guess what? The only way I'm going to get to be top 4, win a trophy, is if you do a couple of things for me,
in
Mr.
January.
Cronky, Stan, Josh, whatever your name is. I need a couple of things.
But by rights, Gary, you shouldn't have to, right? Because by all accounts, business wasn't done in the summer, so there should be some, cash that's still left over. So there should be business, right?
You
shouldn't have to go. You should have to go cap in hand.
We're talking about us just getting loan players
to make sure that they know. Look, I need to do some.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to Saturday. Get your answer. Can Wolves keep City?
Oh yeah, fuck. We're talking about that, aren't we?
You always ask these silly questions, Ray.
You get silly answers.
Hey.
City, come on. Alonso, stay safe.
They've conceded only 4 goals. Wolves have conceded 4 goals.
They have not played. They have not played the machine. I will break you.
Yeah, I'm a drugger.
I will break you.
If he dies, he dies.
Alonso, Wolves versus City.
I'm going for upset.
Oh God!
No.
There's always one. Thing is, though, the one always sometimes will get it. We'll be like, fuck. He's like, Alonso's like, 15 points.
Let me just tell you, Wolves got a lot of points last time out.
Why do you reckon, Alonso? Why do you favour them?
Because I like their setup. Defensively, they're a good team. They always have been a good team. I like Ruben Neves. I think that he can do enough as captain to get the boys ready. I think that you could see a goal from Jimenez and maybe the Diego Costa as well. I never hated Wolves. I like their setup. I like the team they have. I think they're going to cause some issues for City.
Yeah. I think this weekend, before an international break, could throw up. There could be some result here, and we just have to find it, right?
What's the point spread? Let's say Alonso picked Wolves. How many points would that be?
12 points for the win.
Cheeky.
Fortune favors the brave, right? Listen, I won't hold you to that yet, Alonso, but let me know a little bit later.
Or you can keep going for those medium points like I had and do well.
Tony, well, I got 4 points for
Tony's playing the game like MJF, very
mid. A long game.
Mid.
Tony, Wolves versus City.
I don't know, I've been picking up like 7 points a week, so.
Yeah. Wolves versus City, Tony.
Why do you fucking even have to ask me? I said City. We just needed Alonso's answer.
All right.
Still had to give a long-winded answer after all that.
I'll start with you, Tony. We only have 4 more to go anyway.
Newcastle
home to Bournemouth.
Newcastle.
Alonso, you can give context. It's okay. You can say Bournemouth are doing okay. or something.
I'm just gonna say Stan's grandpappy's team. That's all you need to know.
Alonso, Newcastle, Bournemouth.
I'm going for Newcastle.
Yeah, I think Newcastle have stuttered a little bit, but they'll get back on track with this win, Stan.
Cherries have been pretty shit this season, to be fair.
Yeah,
and they're just a typical. They're like Norwich, aren't they? You know,
last time out they got a result. Last time out they were 2-0 down against Forest. I think they beat them 3-2.
Yeah, but again, that's the level, right? That's the level. And they're very much like the Cherries are very much like a Bournemouth or a Norwich. They're a classic yo-yo team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They are a classic yo-yo team, and I think with what Eddie Howe's got an inside track, knows them inside out. Little Lord fucking Fauntleroy that he is.
Yeah,
he's got some good players coming in there. Newcastle, they look like they're doing bits and taking care of business. And I think that Newcastle should get all 3 points at this one.
They were unlucky. Newcastle were unlucky against Crystal Palace. We had that Crystal Palace player pushed them into another player, into the goalkeeper. They lost to Liverpool in unlucky circumstances. Drew at Wolves. So Newcastle need to, if they're going to be that team to progress, they need to go.
And they're at home as well for this one.
They're at home.
You know, they're going to have all those guys with their big bellies out. That's what they do up there. They're going to big bellies out.
No shirts, big bellies out.
They're have to stop being like Crystal Palace and stop getting draws.
Newcastle have one win. You're right, Tony. One win, one loss before draws, right, Tony?
Yep.
Like
I just said, too many draws.
That's interesting, right?
Palace are picking up with draws.
That's interesting. What do you reckon, guys? Another draw then?
They should get back on track against Bournemouth.
Against the Cherries, yeah. You'd think for 3 points.
Gary, they'll get back on track, right?
They get 3 points.
Do I just skip you for the next one, Gary? You don't want to talk about that team, do you?
I don't like them.
You don't want to talk about them. So
who are they playing again?
Leicester.
I cannot give them a win, and there's no way that Leicester's winning. So
Will some manager be getting a sack after that?
Brendan Rodgers could be on his way out. He could be the next one. That might be interesting to talk about at the end of this. Who's
not only for the results though that Leicester have had. I think that Brendan Rodgers is under fire. He's bucking the system a little bit like Scott Parker. You know, he's showing disgruntlement. He's openly not towing the line and speaking ill of those that are fucking paying him. Yeah. So if they get a loss, and I'm like Gary, who wants to give that trash up the road anything, but you know, taking myself out of it like that, I don't see Leicester getting anything out of this one, and maybe that will be the end of David Brent.
Yeah, so David Brent. Who's David Brent?
He's the guy that Ricky Gervais played in the English version of The Office.
Right.
He's so much. The best one was when I remember seeing this footage of him walking into like all the Liverpool players. It's like an auditorium, almost like a theatre where the Liverpool players are sat there, and he's come walking in on the bottom bit, and he's holding up 3 big brown A4 envelopes, and he's gone, in here are 3 names. 3 names that I don't think are going to make it in this team. At the end of the season, we're going to open the envelopes and see if I'm right. And they were probably empty, but that's the stupid shit that he does. That stupid shit. You know, like when you go for an interview for a salesman, and just before you leave, they go, hold on a minute, sell me this pen. And you think, are you for fucking real? That shit went out to the Romans, mate. Do you know what I mean? No one does that anymore. Yeah. So he's very much a David Brent type character.
Yeah, listen, I think that team, at least the top.
We don't really want to talk about this game.
No, we don't want to talk about it. BX Skinner says if Vardy is fit, I always consider Leicester a threat. I think Vardy is. We should stop talking about Vardy as a threat. I think he's just gotten too old.
Step time.
You know, downhill. Alonso, what do you think? That team versus Leicester, no hope.
Leicester all the way.
Leicester all the way. That's our hope, right? You know.
Yeah.
He's putting all his chips in. Is that your upset?
And look,
you know, man, he's gone all in. He's pushed them all into the table.
That team.
Is that your pick?
Champions League.
That ain't your pick.
That team was very.
He just said it was.
Really? Is that your pick, Lonzo?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, but he went for
why
Wolves.
not? Right? He'll be ballsy sometime.
You're like that guy when everyone's in the trench firing over the top. You're that guy that just gets out and just runs off, and everyone's like, "Look at that mad cunt! Look at that man!" I hope he fucking makes it. I love it, but he's a mad fucker.
He gets shot down halfway, but he was a bad cut.
Doesn't he inspire everyone else to follow him, though, Stan?
Well, the enemy's looking at him, going, "Should I shoot him?" It's really easy to shoot him.
I'm too busy going to Gary. Look at that mad cunt. Look at him. Look at him go.
Yeah, they wouldn't shoot him because they're too busy.
Bro, right?
Alonso, so you're going for
Leicester? We salute you for your balls, Alonso.
Going for Leicester or you're going for Wolves, Alonso?
For Wolves.
Okay, you're going for the Wolves one. Okay. Who do I have to get to? Stan, you kind of... Tony, yeah. How could I forget you, Tony? Happens at least once a podcast stuff.
Somebody gets sacked after this game. Leicester loses.
Yeah, so who do we think gets sacked? Gerrard or Rodgers? Who goes first?
Both.
Gerrard goes first. Okay.
I think so because the talent level on Villa is more greater than what Leicester had.
I'm gonna go
for
Brendan Rodgers. I think he's more tenuous than
mouthing off, isn't he? He's been mouthing off too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't keep putting up with it.
You're in a job. It's the only job where you know that when things ain't going too bad and the missus is going like, fucking hell, you're hardly ever here. All you got to do is mouth off and you leave with a few million fucking quid in your pocket. I mean, happy days.
Yeah.
Just mouth off a bit.
It's not bad. Sorry, honey, we have to move again, but we got some money.
Into a bigger house. He's like, yeah, love it. I'm mouth off. I'm lucky if I get 2 weeks severance. Gary,
Gerrard or Rodgers? Or throw another name in there if you think someone else is going to go.
I always thought it was going to be the Southampton manager, and
Hassan Hoodle.
Yeah, and that doesn't seem that that's going to happen anytime soon. So
no, they always they stick with him.
Yeah, I think. Is it Rodgers? I think Rodgers.
Rodgers.
He doesn't. Yeah, I think Rodgers.
Hurry up so we can talk about my favorite double feature.
Well, do you want to talk? Okay.
We got a matinee.
What's the matinee then, Tony? Come on.
Double who gives a fuck game of a week. Everton and West Ham.
Okay.
West Ham will fucking finally maybe find a way to win.
16 versus 18, Tony. It's not much of a game. Have West Ham won a game yet?
Well, why do you think it's called Who Gives a Fuck Game of a Week, right?
Well, nobody calls it but you.
It's my section. Yeah, I got market cornered.
It's hard to disagree with him for this fixture, though, isn't it? Really, it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Gary would say
this one doesn't deserve the font for Who Gives a Fuck Game of a Week. It just
Arsenal misfit. You got to get some sleep. You got about 5 hours, right? I think you're on the same time as us on the East Coast, right, Gary? Toronto.
Thanks for coming in, Misfit.
It's got to get up at 4:30. I get that. Thank you for being with us, Stephen.
Got to pay them bills, right? Got to pay them bills.
Yeah. All right, Tony. Carry on. Don't let me stop you, Tony.
I said West Ham finds a fucking way to win. Oh, did you not pay attention?
Never. Carry on.
What did you just say, Tony? What did you say? Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, fuck both of you.
It's at Goodison Park, Alonso. Frank Lampard, I think he's getting a tune out of Everton. I'm going to go for the win for Everton.
This is my I Carry match part 2.
Not only is he a brave cunt,
he's has more talent than Everton.
I love the way Alonso is the anti-Tony.
I thought he was going to say he's the fucking Antichrist.
No.
The Omen.
No, every
right.
Tony makes.
I'm going for West Ham in this game. I think they
Alonso's real name is Damien.
So yeah, I mean
Alonso Thorne.
Tony got man.
Well, Alonso.
Question, Tony.
All right, Stan.
Yes.
So right, I'm going for West Ham, right?
All right, you agree with Tony. You're going West Ham. Okay. I got
Sure,
everything.
you want to do that?
Is
Sure.
Paqueta going to be the difference, right? They went in for the guy that Arsenal were courting and people were talking about in the summer.
True.
You know,
He's a good
Paqueta.
player.
Is he going to be the difference? And I'm actually surprised of the drop off this season of West Ham because they were kind of like the little engine that could. They were playing as a good team last season. Souček is a player that you could say that has kind of had a bit of a drop off. So, and then on the other side of it, you've got the fat controller, old fat Frank there at Everton, who's been kind of suffering. And you know, Coutinho comes on, and that's basically he's like Ozil, isn't he? You're like the man's nicking a living. So, I don't know. Again, that looks like to me, Tony's right. And he's like, who gives a fuck? This is the fucking antithesis of that fixture, to be fair.
It's like a relegation 6-pointer.
Yeah. I mean, is it possible to do a -2 all draw? Can you do minus draws? I mean, it's that boring, right? So I'd see a draw.
Hey, you don't know when you're going to watch football again. So a lot of people will be watching this.
Who wakes up in the morning? I want to go to fucking Goodison Park and watch this. Who does it?
Scousers of the Blue Persuasion. Gary, what have you got on that last one? Everton at home to West Ham. I'm going for Everton.
Thought to that guy, whatever he said.
You going with Tony?
Gary, I'm going for West Ham, just FYI.
Yeah. Stan, were you going? You were going for a draw, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, interesting. All right. Listen, Brentford at home to Arsenal. I think we're going to need 3 points on Sunday because looks like City will get 3 points. That team will get 3 points. Who else? Brighton are not playing, right? Man United are not playing. Chelsea are not playing. So those are the two teams that can get above us, that team and City, and we will need to reply in kind with Brentford. I think we can do it. I think we can go to Brentford and win the game and play the game we played at Old Trafford, but with the positive result that we need.
No, it's not. No, let's not play that game.
Possession
I
game.
didn't like the way that game ended. So
let's
try something a little bit different.
The structure, the way we approached the game, though, I think, we didn't like the way.
This game's gonna be mine and Stan's upset of a week. We're going for a 3.5 points for a draw.
For which one?
This one. With 3.5 points for a draw. 2-2.
Brentford?
Yeah.
Stan, do you agree with that?
I think it's going to be a draw.
Okay. Yeah, you did say that earlier. Okay.
Pay attention, Ray.
Who wants to go first on the final thoughts? Don't all say jump in.
I will. Thanks for watching, everybody. All those in England, because I know it's late and all that shit, but football's coming back soon. You've all got a day off. I mean, we've got a day off in Canada as well, apparently. So, on Monday, I will be watching the Queen Elizabeth's funeral. And the reason why is, you're gonna see shit like this again. It's gonna be a big pomp and circumstance and a bit of history. It's almost like where were you when JFK was shot? It's a bit of history. So I'm going to be watching that on
what's the chance
Monday.
of somebody's be in power that long? It's not to happen again.
No, I mean, whether you're a monarchist or not, I think it's an event, right? I'm definitely. If you're from England, you want to see how your money's being spent, right? So that's going to be going on, and then football will be on Sunday, and so hopefully we bounce back. We've had plenty of time to have rest. Players have had rest. Hopefully, Partey comes back into the fold. If he's not ready to start, maybe it's a game we ease him in.
When does Mr. Big Ears get his big hoopla?
The coronation, well, that could be months afterwards, right? It could be like somewhere between 6 to 7 months.
It could be a year.
Yeah, Queen Elizabeth took a year, but I think Prince Charles, because of his age, Queen Elizabeth
better get him in there.
She was very young. I think we're looking at around about sometime next year, around about 6 months or so. Wow. Because they want to. He is the king. He's already been proclaimed. It's just a coronation, and it's about having a respectful time of mourning within their family, within their, traditions, whatever you want to call it. It's not like, what I mean, like on Tuesday. You know what I mean? The
It's
funeral's
just weird
Monday,
taking that
Tuesdays,
long.
guys walking around with a crown on. Do you know what I mean? Riding around
To
in
me, it's
carriages.
just weird. Why do you wait a fucking year? It's just
Well, it's probably going to cost a pretty penny.
I'll tell you what it is, Tony, right? And I don't know the answer, but you're talking about a tradition that's been going for over 1,000 years. What you're seeing, what you will see in this funeral, the way it's all laid out. This is stuff that's been going on for ages, and the coronation as well. I find it quite fascinating because it's part of history. It's very fascinating that these things are repeated, and there's a part in the coronation where the monarch is anointed, and then they're covered up. They bring on like a tarpaulin thing to cover them up, and you can't see what's going on under that bit with the monarch and the archbishop during this anointing phase. And I've always wanted to know what goes on under there. So I'm just curious. For me, it's just history.
2-man circle jerk, maybe.
I have to be fair, Tony. I never considered that.
See, he's still in the gutter. He's in the gutter still. You'd have to be in there earlier, Gary. Yeah, Tony was being.
Call me old-fashioned. I don't
know. Alonso, final thoughts this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, having a break off from the Queen's death, kind of having no football on the past two matches. Really, it kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, it's not about what we want. It's about what the royal family wants, and fair play to the teams that decided not to have games. It's just like Stan has said, it's not a kind of thing where someone of a high monarchy passes away, and it was good for the clubs to just say, "Hey guys, no, it wasn't canceled." And people were upset here in the States because they don't know how important football is in England, and it takes stage it sometimes. So it was good that it was canceled. Anyway, but like Stan also said about the long break, that it gave us time to rest players that needed resting, and we were back on Sunday with back to their jobs, and we could watch as fans. So yeah, I hope your Arsenal will win, and yeah.
Let me just say I'm going to be going on holiday vacation for about a week, so I'm hoping that
we going?
Huh?
We going?
I'm just going to the beach, and I don't think I'll be going to be allowed to.
He's going to the Jersey Shore.
Give me an opportunity for some hosting to go on.
Are you going to the Jersey Shore, Ray?
No, the Maryland Shore. A little bit.
I thought you usually go to the Jersey. You're not going to Jersey?
Where is that, by the way? Whereabouts is that, Ray? What state is that? What state will you be in?
Maryland.
I don't mean physically
he just
or mentally.
Said Maryland.
I didn't hear that bit, Tony.
Oh.
Tony heard it, though.
Maryland.
I heard it.
So, yeah, hopefully there'll be some opportunities for hosting from you guys if you're available. Would be good.
Hold on. Yeah, the check hasn't cleared from the last one, so we need to talk about it.
You got to check. So
yeah, I got to check.
Well, some of us.
I mean, who uses checks these days? I mean, I was suspect when that arrived in the past. Like, all right,
it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Okay, so Gary and Tony left. Gary, go ahead, because you know it's Tony's show. We're just characters in Tony's show, right?
What are we doing here? Right? What is this?
Final thoughts. Come on, pay attention.
Yeah.
Damn, you've done this enough, Gary.
Stop talking.
Gary's trying to make this a 3-hour tour. Gilligan's Island over there.
Stop talking.
Tony, stop talking, man. The fucking SWAT team could be through Gary's door any second.
I just muted him.
No, I expect us to. We've had enough time to think about how to play this thing. We know what we've done bad in our last Premier League match. Yeah. Hopefully, they've learned from that and they've been working on their finishing, working on their awareness of where things are. I expect to win. We should be getting a win going into this. We're going to have a break from Premier League for a couple of weeks, so we need to get this win. Right, this is our last game, right, for the break?
Last game before the North London derby.
Yep. So and I'll be there for that. So hopefully I get to see us
Is it a week? Is it a 1 week break or a 2 week break after this game? What is it?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Off, yeah.
And then you're going to London, right, Gary? We were talking about this before you came on. You're going to meet up with the Lolo and Ben Island and all them boys, right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep. So I'll be there for that. So at first I'll go see my dad for a couple of days, and then I'll hang out with
dad? Where's your dad? What part? Where's your dad?
Acton.
Oh, Acton.
He's in that. Yeah.
Is this going to be your first North London derby?
This is going to be my first Arsenal match.
Telling you, Gary, you don't know what you're in for, man, my friend. I'm very envious. My last game was a North London derby under Emery, the 4-2. Probably going to be the last game I see for a while now, leaving over here. You're going to love every minute of it. You wait until you feel that atmosphere around you, man. I'm telling you. And it doesn't matter where you sit, whether it's the East Stand, the West Stand, or the North Bank. You know, probably be more than likely one of those three stands. You're going to love it, my friend. And you wait and see. And even though you're probably going to be sitting, you're going to find that you're probably sitting in seats that are usually someone else's seats, right? So either side of you, you're going to have people that will know each other. This is what happened to me. And then they're going to be like, where's that guy that's usually there? And it's going to be you. But everything goes our way, and this is what happened to me and my missus, this is, you know, for our game, right? There was people either side of us, and there were two people that obviously we, for whatever reason, they the tickets weren't cheap, right? So they made their money, but they were, you know, they were talking across us a lot. You know, they don't know us. By the end of that game, mate, there was hugging and kissing. Oh, we've known each other for years, and happy Christmas, and brilliant. You wait and see. If it goes our way, Gary, you're gonna love it.
Listen, I have a similar story as well. It was Arsene Wenger's last home game was Burnley, and I got talking to a guy who was there. We got talking. I was talking to him like I knew the guy the whole game, and it was a good, really, really good experience. Exactly like Stan, similar to what Stan was saying there. So have a great time there, Gary.
Yeah, man.
We want to see Tomiyasu. We want to see Saliba, Gabriel, and maybe.
Are you going to take a trip around the museum and all of that? Right, you may as well. You know.
I don't. Yeah, I'm going to be there for enough time that I can do something like that. We're actually. So I'm going to see the North London derby on the Saturday, and then we're going to head up to Leeds.
When are you getting into London? On Saturday or the day before?
I think like a Thursday, I think.
If you get there on Thursday, Gary, get on the museum tour. Just get up on the bus. Seriously, Ray's done it. Get up there and do the stadium tour for a few quid. I swear, you're in it, Ray. You've done it, ain't you?
Yeah. You got to do the stadium tour and then go to the museum.
No, not maybe the stadium tour. I don't know how you book that up, but definitely do the museum tour, Gary, because you never know when you're gonna.
You might go see Bobby Perez there, just getting his work.
Yeah, sweeping up in his brown, caretaker's coat. He's like gets a tour by Bobby Perez.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to that. So yeah. So
Bobby.
Thunder Road says get into a fight, at least throw a punch at somebody.
Yeah.
No, I don't have time for that.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad, but
you've seen Thunder Road's profile picture. Kind of speaks for itself, right?
Yeah, that's the North and the
man covered in claret.
Yeah, So
Burberry scarf.
It's going to be a charged atmosphere, so do be careful, Gary. We wish you well, and of course, you're going next Thursday? Are
you going to go to the Tollington?
In a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Are you going to go to the Tollington pub, Gary?
I'm going to try to do everything I can.
I'll give you a tip. Sure. When we went there, right, we walked down. We tried to get there a bit early, and I said to the missus, like, let's get up to the, Tollington and, see if, like, Kenny Ken and all that. We went up there, right, and the way that the pub is, it's kind of got, like, an outside patio bit with a small fencing around. Mate, the place was chocker block. And we there's bouncers on the door. And I'm squeezing in with my missus, like holding her hand. And we walked in and I looked around. We couldn't get to the bar. And I just said to my missus, about turn, and just left. So if you're going to go down there, you got to get down there early because it really is a big congregation there. Do you know what I mean?
Cool. All right.
Definitely looking forward to it. When I get lots of video, I think we're going to, at some point, probably try to do like part of our show. From after the match and stuff like that, so
we can see Gary on AFTV.
I don't know. I don't think
Gary might not leave. He'll just start doing podcasts from over there.
There you go.
No, you're coming home. You're coming home eventually.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
He's
to.
coming home. Sorry,
He's coming home.
Gary's
He's
coming home.
coming home. Hey, we could sing that while he's away, right? Tony.
If we're singing long enough, we can make this a fucking
Are you gonna do? Are you
3-hour
gonna do
show.
a pod while you're over there? I mean,
Yeah, I
you
have
know.
a couple of days where I usually have a pod, so I might try and do one of my shows there.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
And there'll be a couple on the stoops. So
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, I really like to hear that though, don't you? Though, like us lot of people that we've. I mean, I've not met any of you lot yet, and I really hope one day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure.
No, for sure.
I'm not so sure
Well,
about
you know
Tony,
what?
but
Okay, no,
the rest of
we won't tell him. All right.
We just have to coordinate it, Stan. You know what I mean?
It's good.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to hear that you're meeting up with low.
hey, the next World Cup final won't be far from here.
Yeah, I've
we're
been
going FIFA.
I've been about 4 times, so it's a good experience each and every time. Going into the stadium as well, Gary, it's a different feeling. You know what I mean?
Yep.
When you walk up there and you see the pitch, and you're coming down to your seating, it's a great feeling. You know what I mean? I've been in different parts of the seating.
No, like I said, I'm looking forward to it all. I'm just trying to absorb it all. Make sure I have enough battery
Drink it in,
backup.
Gary. Drink it in, man. Just drink it in.
That too. That
like
too.
Tony is right now.
Don't drink anything from the bar or anything, because that fucking you have to take a mortgage out to actually drink anything there. So,
all right. So we wish Gary's going to be a couple of weeks before he leaves. So this is not the final words before he leaves just yet.
I'm jealous. I'm envious.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, I'd love to go myself. Have you got what size the luggage? Could I squeeze in the luggage? No.
I was gonna do carry on, but
I'm under 50 pounds.
Telling Gary, until you've been to a North London derby, I'm lucky enough to been to quite a few in my life. Fuck, you can't beat it, mate. Telling you,
it's different.
I'm looking.
You're going to be laughing. You watch your emotions, man. You're going to be some of the things you're going to hear shouted out, man. You're going to be fucking. My missus was like, I can't believe I'm here. My missus was like, oh my god.
Yeah, but Gary's just have to go.
My missus was like the poor referee. I was like, what? Some of the things that is, but you know what I mean? You hear it all.
Gary's just have to turn around to Mark or Lolo to hear what's coming out of their mouth.
The referee just needs to give us all of the decisions. Then he'll have.
Is Mark going over as well with him then?
Yeah.
Oh man, what a great meetup! Envious.
Tony. Finish.
Are you going to meet Mr. Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
We can.
Just
there's
keep your hand. Gary,
Gary,
just keep your hand on your wallet when you're around Mr. Tom.
Hey, we can talk about all of this.
Travelers checks, credit cards.
Come on, Ray. Let's just make this a 3-hour show. We're close to
We can talk about this backstage. There's a backstage pass if anyone wants to.
I thought we were backstage. I thought the show had finished.
Stan's enough beers into it. He thinks we're done.
We don't finish till Tony speaks his last word. Tony.
Say good night, Tony.
I'm about to make it that quick. On the football side, hope we get the 3 points this weekend because October's going to be tough. 9 games squeezed in there.
Yes.
We're going to have to get used to that because next year there'll probably be 8 or 9 matches squeezed into a couple of months. Hopefully we're number 1 or 2 going into a World Cup. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about all on the football side of things. Besides, I won't watch the World Cup. Still banning it. Don't give a fuck. But
you'd rather watch Everton versus West Ham, right?
Yeah. No, I'd just rather do something else.
Okay.
I'd rather just stream the new Game of Thrones.
So listen, when we go back, when we go backstage,
so
can we go back to Tony's childhood? Because I was enjoying that. That's probably the best bit of the show.
Gary wants to know as well, right?
You missed all that, Gary. You missed a lot of shit, Gary.
Oh my!
Thanks, everyone. Right. We come.
I'm not finished yet, Ray.
Oh my God!
Stan interrupted you, not me. Okay.
I just talked about the football side of it.
And you said
there's more.
When you're
thought-
done,
how many sections of this exit are
3
there?
hours long, Tony. 3 hours long. Come on.
I'm trying to make it up to 3 hours, but Ray's just
Alright.
like, fuck it, I want to leave.
Round number.
Anyway,
Go for that.
having COVID all week. I enjoyed going on Gary's show Monday. Enjoyed the night with you guys and all the wonderful people in the chat. So it kind of makes COVID a little bit better.
How you feeling now? You feeling better?
I'm feeling better, but I keep getting a tightness in my chest, like I'm gonna have an asthma attack. That's kind of what happened Saturday. Smoking a bowl, took a toke.
That's not going to help, is it, Tony? For
No.
fuck's sake.
I didn't know I had it then. I didn't find
No,
out until Sunday.
Therapeutic, Stan, apparently.
I didn't find out until Sunday, man. I didn't know. That was kind of like the. Oh shit! Something's wrong.
What a way to garner sympathy. Yeah, I'm having tightness in my chest. Been smoking like a fucking chimney, though. But, my lungs.
A bowl. A reef.
Tony.
I use vaporizer half the
There's
time.
no way I'm sending this shade to my
It's
mum.
not always smoke.
Do you know what I mean? And I said the C word twice. There's no way I'm sending
You
this
dropped
to
a
my
lot
mum.
of F-bombs.
I know.
You're trying to
Stan's
get
been naughty this show. Anyway,
I've been away for a week. I've enjoyed it. I missed you lot. Can I tell you?
It's a blast to sit
I
here
missed
with
everyone
you
in the
guys
chat as well. I missed you all.
It's a blast to sit here for 3 hours, even feeling like crap. It's just.
What else are we gonna do?
It's
Watch
nice.
She-Hulk?
Well,
Have you been
Nobody's
watching it?
that.
What do you think of
Nobody's
it so
watching
far,
that.
Stan?
Hey,
I think
Stan.
that means he loves it.
That
Stan.
means he's blowing air up some asshole. That's what that means.
Oh God.
Tony. All right, okay. On that note,
Tony.
Come on,
Tony.
you said cut twice. Come on, Stan.
No,
You
but
can't cut me off.
Tony, you went there. You went there and you should not have.
All the time.
Gary, that's
All right,
tame. You
Tony,
should have
you're
heard
done.
him earlier, man.
He
Jesus
should have
Christ.
heard when Stan was talking about playing with me.
No, it's what you're
No,
doing.
okay.
done. Tony,
You're
you're
dirty
done.
mind.
You're done, right?
Cut
Listen,
it.
I'm going away on vacation. Hopefully, somebody will keep things moving Sundays and
Not you,
Thursdays.
Mate,
Tony.
you'd be fucking lucky if you come back to
Hey,
the
I
channel.
did good last time, Alonzo. Fuck you.
Alonzo, thanks for joining us tonight, Alonzo. Tony, thanks for joining us, Tony.
Yep.
Dan,
Always a
thanks
pleasure.
for joining us, Dan.
Loved it.
Gary, thanks for joining us. You were late, but
It's because he's on the fucking Peloton.
All right, calm down, Tony. Jesus.
he had a reason. See you later. Come on, you Gunners, and we'll see you on Sunday. Let's get 3 points, baby. We are out of here. Say good night.